Call this meeting to order at 6:32. Is there anyone videotaping or recording this meeting? LakeCAM is present. Thank you very much. Okay, let me get my eyes. We can get going. Uh-oh. I got him.
Everybody's gonna just share eyes.
Okay. First up, Lakeville Lions request. They're not here. Move to number 2, as we will move right along tonight. Master plan update with Mr. Jed.
Hi, Mr. Jed.
How are you?
For the record, my name is Jed Corna. I'm a Principal Comprehensive Planner at Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development District, also known as SERPID. I'm here tonight because the Master Plan Implementation Committee has asked that I come before all the boards in town to bring you up to speed on the master plan effort. Also announce that we will be having an open house on January 11th at the Assawamsett Elementary School, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., where we will outline the draft master plan, basically present it to the public and ask for their feedback. So as part of that effort, I'm going around to all the boards and committees to provide to you the list of goals and strategies that we've basically formulated throughout this 2-year process. We've had 4 public workshops, we've met with several town departments, and so we're here tonight to go over those with you, specific to the Park Commission. And so Nellie indicated that you folks had received this before the meeting, and so the basic idea here is to, if I could, just go over that first item, which is the main themes. So throughout this process, we took in a lot of feedback, both digitally over the internet, but also during those workshops, and we came up with these 8 main themes. Theme number 3 and 4 really, in my opinion, speak to the Park Commission about supporting the creation support the current and future maintenance and creation of open space and recreational areas in town, and enhancing accessibility and access to them. And then goal number 4, or theme number 4, pursuing additional sidewalks and bicycle facilities to allow alternative transportation options in town. So what we heard at one of our public workshops was, folks want to be able to access the sites that I believe that you folks manage, and be able to get to and from different ways other than just driving their car. So producing more sidewalks and bicycle paths and whatnot to allow for that access. Before I go too far into the document itself, I would like to, if possible, just learn a little bit more about the Park Commission, maybe perhaps a brief summary about the places that you manage. I have a general understanding, but it's always helpful to get more detail from you folks, if that would be allowable.
Sure. We manage here at Ted Williams Camp, the lodge and the lawn fields, and anything else that's here, whatever it may be. We also manage Clear Pond Park, which is down on Clear Pond Road, which is a seasonal swimming hole, and we oversee the operations of the entire event. Another field we have is John Pond Park, which is down on Vaughn Street, which is currently houses girls softball, women's blooper ball, and this year there was a mixed blooper ball league. And we oversee the operations of that. We also oversee, we don't actually do much with it, Darren Dickren Square, right in front of the church, down by the old town hall. We don't actually do much with it. There's some events there. In the past, they've gone right to the selectmen to get permission, which is fine. It doesn't really matter. And the highway department knows it. So those are the 4. Those are the 4, right?
4, right? Yeah.
Those are the 4 places that we're in charge of.
Sure. So we heard at one of our public workshops is the Ted Williams Camp, which is amazing. Folks just absolutely love it. So one of the comments that had come up was allowing for other winter activities or usage of the facility during the wintertime. And so I'm curious about, are there events that typically happen in the wintertime at Ted Williams that you could expand upon, or is it just because it's a wintertime season?
The past few years, They didn't have it last year, did they?
We did
Winterfest?
not, no.
No. That stopped 2 years ago. Winterfest was what group was that? They were, I'm trying to remember exactly.
Winterfest committee?
Yeah, but I mean, it was
It's a career.
it was a group. But anyhow, they did a Winterfest program here, which I think it went 3 years, and it grew exponentially each year. And people came, but we just didn't have the winter weather that was hoped for.
Right.
The Lions Club had put up a small skating rink, which was a fabulous idea. We all went, oh, it's a great idea, but we haven't had the weather for it.
I see.
I mean, it started to freeze, then some child walked through the slush and ruined it. So it had to be sprinkled, and then it didn't freeze, and it was very unfortunate that it didn't work out. Like I remember as a kid, we used to skate all the time, but the weather hasn't been cooperating with that. As far as other wintertime activities, other than indoors here, some of the events that are held, I know the past couple of weeks they've been doing some Christmas shopping events, which is fantastic. There's not a lot going on in the wintertime.
And I could see the fluctuation in temperature being a challenge for sure. Yeah, there was talk about the ice skating rink and how nice that would be to bring that back. But so that's actually one of the,
They tried for 3 years, and it just.
yeah.
There were a couple years anyhow. Yeah, it was a lot.
Still there.
Huh?
The frame is still there.
The frame is still there, yeah. It was a lot of work, and it didn't seem to pan out. I mean, I can understand their frustration as well as, well, when's the skating rink gonna go? And I'm like, when it freezes? I mean,
Okay. So that's one of the.
Several years ago, there was a lot of talk about having putting together like a cross-country ski trail through here.
Yeah.
Again, we haven't had the snow to do it. That's just one of the other things that we're talking about, at some point.
Yeah. Okay. So if I could just, go through some of the goals and strategies that I think relate to the Parks Mission, and if you would, entertain discussion about them, or perhaps there was if you had an opportunity before this meeting and you were, had a burning desire to just bring something up, or a question related to any of the documents that I provided, available to answer any of that. But if seeing none, I can just go over a couple of them, and then, I can be sensitive to your time as well. So, in Chapter 6, which is Open Space and Recreation, I believe the 6th page, depending on if you're looking at double-sided picture. Strategy 631 is creating more recreational trail networks within existing protected open space and working to connect those networks together. I'm curious whether or not any of those types of trail networks you, as a board, would be responsible for maintaining, if they were outside of the Ted Williams camp. Would that be something that you would anticipate having to maintain?
You may go right ahead.
There is a trail network at Clear Pond Park.
Okay.
That follows all the way to Mile and Quarter,
I believe
around the pond.
Okay.
That is one that we do maintain.
there's one here.
And also the one here, which as part of our expansion on the north side there, part of our plans is to clean that up. It's still used extensively by people walking their dogs.
Okay.
But that would like to clean that up and make it much more user-friendly.
I see.
Scott could tell you, there was originally what would you call it? A fitness trail?
It's a fitness trail or a park course. They go by different names. They have multiple stations. You go to a station, you do sit-ups. You go to the next station, you do pull-ups. I mean, whatever it may be, or whatever you want to do, which is out there, which was part of the John DiCarlo thing that they did. And there's some signs, and you go to each one. And so we were hoping that we might have got a Boy Scout project going this summer, and that would have been one thing that I would have tried to direct somebody to do to clean them all up. They need to be cleaned up and the stuff cut back and mulch brought in, and maybe done some painting, and some of the signs need to be cleaned up and different things like that. I think it would have been a great Boy Scout project, but nobody came this year. So we'll put it on our limited resources. During the wintertime, we only have 2 part-time employees, and with that being said, their hours get limited in the wintertime because there's not a lot to be done. They come inside here and paint and do that, but their hours are limited even more than the 18 hours they normally would get a week. So as far as things like that, we don't have a lot of wintertime personnel to maintain or upkeep, and that was part of the problem with the ice rink. You know, we didn't have the personnel, but as it was, we didn't have that weather either.
Would it be good to suggest additional personnel, or am I hearing that you just don't have a lot to have for them to do during that winter time period? Meaning, I guess what I'm getting at is, would additional funding help to create additional staff?
Additional funding would, because I mean that's always an issue. Yeah. You know, I mean budget constraints. You know, so currently we budget for you know, leaner hours in the winter and
yeah,
you know, as much as we can get in the summertime. You know, when it's busy. Spring is loaded here, you know, with all the kids' sports and everything that's going on. Summertime slows down a little bit, and then fall picks up again. You know, it gets real busy. I mean, in here has a different, you know, I mean, April and May are really busy in here, and now October is becoming a huge month for these guys. So the fall is really busy around here. Things going on.
okay.
Were you aware that this is the park department is an enterprise fund?
I wasn't.
We're an enterprise fund, yeah. So we don't have any budget money from the town. We raise all of our own.
And has that ever been different in the past, or is that?
Yeah. Well, we didn't have, this is a money generating building.
Right.
So in the past, we had budgeted.
I believe it's been approximately 20 years it's been an enterprise fund.
Okay. Right. So it's a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
And so there's, I'm assuming, no intent to go back to getting funds from the town, or
Depends on how well we
changing
do, I guess.
Yeah. Probably not. I mean, their budget's tight too. So I mean,
Right.
for them to come up with an extra couple $100,000 would be tough.
I was at the last master planning meeting, the one at the library, right?
libraries, yeah.
And I was there, one of the questions that kept coming up was, you know, I pay taxes, how come we can't use the lodge, how come there's not more things? And I got the sense that people just weren't aware that how it works. They're not that aware that we're self-sufficient. And, you know, why do my kids have to pay $15 to play soccer? It's all part of, you know, an enterprise fund.
Yeah. So you're completely reliant on the user fees that folks pay.
And the money that is generated
Here and on the fields. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's an expansion happening now. Can
Right.
you talk a little bit more about that?
We're in the process. We've this late summer, early fall, we got 2 fields planted up here across from the funeral home off of 18. It was a situation where it was started, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago.
At least, yeah.
And it just, you know, the money wasn't there. We were able to build up some funds so that we were able to pay for the fields to be done. They were just, I mean, too much for our limited resources.
Sure.
So we were able to do that with our retained earnings, and both fields are growing. There's nice green grass on them, and so we're hoping probably not next year, probably the year after, they'll be available to be played on. We want to get them good and strong and thick before we abuse them.
Right. Disturb them, right? And what types of fields?
They are multi-purpose fields.
Multi-purpose, okay. And is that the only expansion that's happening up there? Is it just those fields, or is there a?
Well, that and it kind of in conjunction with the trail project, because the trails are between us here and through the woods there, over there, so it's.
Sure.
We also were building, we have a fellow actually already got under contract to come in to the parking lots.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Spread the tailings.
Spread out the rocks and everything.
So there's no other additional fields that would be built up at that site, and you're maxed out at that point?
No, we might be able to squeeze in a small practice area. You know, we'll see once we get the parking lot spread out and what we have left for room. You know, we were thinking there was a spot at the end, we might be able to get a, 125 feet by 100 or something, you know, as a warm-up type field. But we'll see. You know, I mean, it's a hope and pray more than a definite deal.
Now, have you ever had issues with a lack of available fields? I mean, it sounds like a silly question considering you're building new ones, but with the additional fields, will that satisfy the need, or is there more on the horizon that you would anticipate?
Presently, I don't see anything on the horizon. It may come to that, but you know, we have football that practices here on the baseball fields. We have baseball that plays in the fall. We have football that plays in the fall. The soccer fields, if you come down here on a Saturday, they're full. They're full. So this would help ease the burden and help save the fields. You know, because currently they play one way and then they switch it to play the other way for the fall, for the spring. You know, different things like that. You know, we have a lacrosse program in town that currently has no home. So, you know, we're hoping that, you know, possibly we can bring them here, you know, at least for some of the time, you know. You know, football went and built a field in Freetown, so we don't have to worry about game field for football. But soccer, you know, there's women's league that plays on Sundays, and they come in right when the kids are done. You know, if we could move, I'm just saying, if we could move 2 games of women down there 1 week, you know, move back and forth, get lacrosse down there maybe for some of their teams, you know, they will be used.
For sure.
There's no doubt, no doubt.
To answer your question though, that's right now the extent of what we have planned.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we also heard about Clear Pond Park. Folks you may have heard at the workshop indicated that it was in disrepair and they'd like to see it improved. It showed its age. Perhaps it was over the weather events, you know, in between workshop events. But I'm curious about the condition of the park itself, and you know, is there plans to do any sort of improvements there looking forward that the master plan could support your efforts in that, or is it sort of good as it gets? And
When was that meeting held again?
Yeah.
I think it was before we
March.
opened for the season, yeah.
It was in March.
So it was before we were open for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that?
You know, Doug, they rebuilt the whole top of the dock out there that's in the water this spring. Last spring, they built a brand new lifeguard tower. The year before that, our prior director, we were able to install partially a new facility for the kids.
So it sounds like things are good.
Well, they're not good. I mean, it's like anything else, you know, funding would help move it along.
Yeah.
That building's pretty old, you know, it's pretty antiquated.
Okay.
I was a kid when it was built.
Okay.
So, you know, it's seen better days, but you know, it's still working, you know, it's still working.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, in that meeting also, there was a lot of talk about why so many people from out of town use that park.
Yeah.
And that's strictly because we're an enterprise fund and we wouldn't be able to operate it without those, you know, that revenue. Certainly, if the town wanted to go to a resident only, that would require us to get some funding from the town to do that. Again, something to think about for the master plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it sounds like that additional funding and additional staffing would help grow the program or grow
Sure.
and help maintain your sites. Okay. Just a couple more things. So, yeah, well, speaking of funding, so strategy 731, which is on services and facilities, we have, as you folks allowed me to, over the summertime, hand out promotional material. I got to talking to, you know, maintenance folks at the camp, and they indicated, it's a lot to take care of, and I can imagine it's a lot of acreage. And so, again, this strategy is just consider providing more staff to support the maintenance needs of the town and the Ted Williams camp. So it sounds like, what my understanding is, the highway department dedicates a staff member over the summertime and the springtime to just this facility, and then they sort of get them back after the demands sort of settle down with the grass cutting and maintaining. Is that?
Well, to back up and give you a little history on that, when the town took the budget back, that was one of the items they did give the parks, was to give them 2 personnel from, let's just call it April to November.
Okay.
The dates fluctuate.
Sure.
That lasted a year, and the second year we got 1 personnel. 3 years ago, the selectmen decided that seeing that we're a enterprise fund, we should be paying for that individual. So currently, that individual is paid 100%, including benefits, health insurance, the whole ball of wax by this department.
Gotcha.
So they do work here from, let's call it April 1st to November 1st, and then they go back to the highway, and then the highway pays. So it's about a 2/3, 1/3 split,
I see.
approximately. And that gentleman's retiring March 31st.
Do you have a replacement in line?
Not yet.
I see.
That's a discussion for another day.
Okay. So it sounds like, I think we're hitting upon the same challenge, the funding and the staffing and whatnot.
Correct.
Is there anything else that I should be aware of? So those, I mean, in summary, those are essentially the strategies that I think relate directly to the Park Commission.
I'd like to point out also that over the years, volunteerism in this town has been very healthy, as you probably are running into.
Yeah.
Soccer clubs, baseball, softball, they do a lot of the work themselves. It's the parents getting out there, and I think it's a fantastic thing myself. But a lot of,
I'm one in my town.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that is both extremely helpful and also great for the town.
Some of the things they've done in the last, 5 to 10 years, the soccer club built those soccer fields. The town didn't. They built them, had them irrigated, did the irrigation. Little League redid the fields here. They put up dugouts on this field here. Down at the softball fields, we've got a new group that's come in, and they're gun-ho, which is great. And they repainted and cleaned up and did a lot of work down at the John Pond fields to get them in better shape. They still need work, and that's just adding to what Mike's talking about, the volunteerism. Without the help of these groups, a lot of the stuff wouldn't get done. I mean, the group that plays volleyball, they come down here and they rototill the sand, and rake the sand and get all the crap out from the winter time. The horseshoe people take care of their horseshoe pits themselves. I don't think they'd let us touch them, but and I don't blame them. But there again, there's a lot of volunteerism that's done here through the various organizations that supplement the Park Commission.
And how does that work directly? Do they come before the board and ask for permission,
Right.
outline plans?
Right, exactly. They come before us with a plan outlined, and then as long as we look at it and think that it's a good idea, you got it, yeah.
And we work with them as well.
Right.
If we can send our help over to help them.
Right, there's times when we do that. We might supply stone dust. They're redoing the outfield, we might supply the stone dust. Things like that, we work with them.
So maybe in addition to not only the staffing and the funding, but maybe informational items that outline the fact that, the way in which you support or create these facilities is by user fees, is by folks not only volunteering, but also paying to use the sites, and that you're separate from the town government. That might be a helpful.
Well, we're not. I mean, we are, enterprise fund is.
Right, and we still abide by, all the town governmental laws and rules.
Yeah.
I mean.
But you don't receive funding.
No funding.
Funding.
I mean, but
Yeah.
just as a point of order, the money we receive from all the groups, not including this building, all the groups, doesn't even pay 3/4 of that part-time employee and all his benefits. That doesn't even cover one guy. I mean, he could ride the mower 7 days a week if he was working 7 days a week. I mean, you know, in the springtime, once we get it irrigated and fertilized, I mean, he's mowing it twice a week.
Okay.
You know, so, I mean, yeah.
So, excuse my ignorance, but is there an opportunity to allow for town funding support in addition to an enterprise fund situation? So would you be able to carry sort of two funding sources? You understand what I mean? Like if you were to have your own fund that you would sort of combo with town funding to allow for payment for additional staff. Or perhaps the town pays for staff that's dedicated to your facility. I just don't know the mechanics of how that would be allowable or a solution for that, I guess, moving forward.
I mean, I'm sure it could, I mean, it was allowed. I mean, I'm sure it could be some way, somehow worked out.
But we're self-sufficient at this point, and we like to feel that we're not a burden on the town.
Yeah.
We were able to, like Scott mentioned, we were able to take the money to build those fields. That wasn't just planting grass, that was bringing in, you know, screening loom and bringing in someone to set them up and the whole thing. It's a $75,000 project, and that was paid for with our retained earnings. So
Okay.
we do what we think is frugal,
Sure,
but
sure.
needed.
Anything else? Any questions for me?
None that I can think of at the moment. Anybody else?
No, there's a lot of reading here, a lot of stuff.
I mean, I went through a little bit of work. I didn't have the time dedicated to read every line.
Are you gonna have another one of those open meetings like you had at the library?
Well, our next event is the open house where we'll present the actual draft plan. So we're working hard to make that work for January 11th, and after which we receive feedback, we'll then be editing the plan as necessary. So up until that point, you have every opportunity to
So it's January 11th, again at the library?
at the Assawamsett Elementary School,
What time was that?
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that will be the draft plan.
So I got a question here, and not knowing anything about this, and I apologize for my ignorance, I guess. There's a lot of stuff here, a lot of niceties here.
Sure.
Does it get done? I mean, what's the deliverable, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years old? I mean,
The actual master plan itself, it will be delivered to the town in March. So that draft, or that final document will be theirs, and then the implementation committee, which is really the key to this, carries that forward and works with the responsible parties. So for example, zoning changes that might happen in town, that's the planning board's responsibility. So the implementation committee will work with the planning board to make sure that happens. So that's really I hope that's the answer to your question, is that you need a champion in order to pull these strategies forward. And really that's the implementation committee, that's their charge.
Did you say that you're a resident of Lakeville?
I'm a resident of Carver.
Okay, but you have the same issues as far as volunteering for the kids and all, okay.
Yes, one of the challenges we face is user fees, and whenever that comes up, it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And it's about to soon, because spring sports start up before we know it. And so I can understand the dilemma. We don't actually maintain the fields that are within our community, at least not my organization, but the town does, and they struggle with it. It's a daily thing. Great.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
If you have any questions or comments, please just see the website. It's very simple, serpent.org/Lakeville Master Plan. Or you just Google Lakeville Master Plan and you'll find it. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, from Lake Alliance.
Yes, we're gonna go backwards here, because I'm assuming you're here for the Lake Alliance request? No, you're not. You're just here to enjoy the meeting? But you have something?
I want to talk about the budget when you get to it.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna,
do we know what the Lions wanted? We assume no one's here from, what did they want?
I think they wanted to talk about their upcoming comedy event. It's the usual. but nothing was,
Did he
I
come?
did receive an email from him that said that he was coming to a meeting to ask for the discount that he always asks for.
okay, okay.
But I'm not.
What is that, just a reduced rate?
Yeah, well, we charge them the full and then we donate back per usual.
Right.
And do they have a date already?
They do.
There you go.
Do you want me to look it up? Or can I
Oh,
get
since
that?
Richard's
Oh, I can
here,
look it
maybe we
up.
can
All
save him a
right.
trip.
If you have
I didn't know if
I
we
do.
get
Yeah,
that.
that's what I got.
Oh, yeah,
I can
it's,
tell you the date if you want.
oh, yeah, I got it. It's February 8th.
That's for the,
It's a great
The,
event.
the comedy show. The
Comedy
annual- The annual comedy show, yeah.
And what was it last year that we donated back?
Half. So they got charged the full 6
Yeah.
for a general rental and we donated half back.
Well, personally, in light of all the good work that the Lakeville Lions does in town, I would make a motion that we do the same again this year.
They did get charged the cleaning fee though last year,
yeah, we
just
can't get away
appropriately.
from the cleaning fee,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, we can't give that away because we have to pay it out. It's one thing to reduce our rate, that's our choice. But that's one thing that we've had to stand by and stand fast on, because we're actually writing a check out and paying for it.
Right.
So we have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Sick?
Any further discussion?
Just provided that's what they wanted, or what they're looking.
And I do believe that's their usual meeting with us at this time is about that.
Well, if not, then they can get back to us, but all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I will let them know.
Okay. And if there's something else they need, please come to the next meeting.
Yep, I'll let them know.
Okay. Yes, ladies.
Hello.
Okay.
Are we skipping over to SEM?
They're next on the agenda.
Approved meeting minutes?
Oh, yeah. Approve minutes. Sorry. Sorry.
Did you send these out,
What?
these minutes?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't see it.
I got the thing about Jed, but I didn't see these.
You sent these 2 weeks ago.
Bingo.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It
because
was
of the
that whole
meeting.
thing.
Oh, I already looked at
Yep.
these.
Yeah, you did. You already saw those.
We already fixed them too, right?
So we already-
Yeah.
It was a good thing about that day.
Yeah, that was all we could do.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from November 18th as submitted.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
What was the name on it?
Right. Yes? No?
I said aye.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. And minutes are accepted. Okay, so we're approving the bills as we talk, right? The bills are being done?
Yep.
So now we can go back to you, ladies.
I wanted to find out, I spoke briefly with Mike about doing a bridal vendor show, not so much the way it was done a few years ago, but more so to bring the vendors in to get people through the door,
Mhm.
more as advertising
Mm-hmm.
for us to get people in the door. We're gonna partner with Heritage Flower and Balloon, and they had their show last year at their shop, and they had over 200 people through their door with a limited space. I don't know if you've been in their space.
Yep, very small.
So here, we could easily double, if not triple, the amount of people through the door. And that's a big weekend for bridal fairs, because that's the Pro Bowl and not the last
Oh, right.
football or
Who watches the
Super
Pro Bowl, right? Yeah.
So, they can, it'll be here, so
That's right.
I'll be happy to have it on silent.
What's the date again?
The 26th, it's a Sunday.
Between the Super Bowl and, yeah. Yeah, so you won't be charging anything, it's just more to bring
No,
people in?
more to bring people through the door, just to get it out there. It'll give us the ability to advertise that we can do more than weddings. We
Correct.
can do, family functions or business outings. We can just highlight what we can do here,
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a busy time anyhow, so it's not like you're
taking away.
taking away from anything
Yeah.
that's generating income, because it's pretty slow.
Yeah, and as far as cleaning goes, I'll clean afterwards. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
I'll help you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, done on that. But I just wanted to make sure that was okay.
Does anybody have any problems with that? Sounds
You're
like-
welcome to come.
Sounds like a great idea.
Appreciate it, but
You can watch the program.
I'll let these guys know.
Maybe I'll come and clean up and watch the game.
Perfect.
Okay, so that was that.
Next was a car show question we had about a wedding.
I have a bride that wants to get married on the day of the car show, which on our calendar, it just says hold for car show. So when I spoke to Nellie, she told me the car show was completely outside and was not utilizing the building, but that there was a parking comment, because I read the South Coast Today
Correct.
article, that they wanted to use the side vendors. The article in South Coast Today actually had the date wrong. It had July 12th.
Well-
So I don't know if it was a Sunday or Saturday that they originally asked for. It was my first point of clarification that I needed.
Saturday,
Okay.
would take a Sunday if we didn't have it.
But the South Coast Today also said that there was a tentative rain date, and I can tell you right now, the rain date, we do have a wedding booked on.
Yeah, well, first thing I'm gonna say is, don't believe what you read. Because
Perfect.
I don't know what meeting that person was at, but they weren't at our meeting.
Okay,
They were, but they weren't.
okay.
Because half the information that came out of that was incorrect. What we did talk about was he preferred Saturday. And when we first looked at it, there was something booked
Yes.
for that Saturday.
Right, that has since canceled.
Right, so,
The 11th, was it?
Yes.
so it was pushed off to the 12th. So
Right.
that was correct as a tentative date. But then when we heard that it was canceled, you know, did we
I
reach
don't
out
think
to
we
him?
reached out to him, did we?
I don't know if we did.
I think we did.
I thought you sent
Yeah.
a message.
I think it was, yes, we're gonna go for the Saturday, not the Sunday, because
Right.
that was preferred anyways. So we put him in on that Saturday. We put the car show in for that Saturday.
Right,
Period. We're
Right.
like, you've got
So
your
it's not
Saturday, you're good.
tentative,
So what time is the wedding?
They would like to have the ceremony at 4:30, but it would be our normal $2,900. You rent the whole venue for the whole day from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
For the 2020 pricing.
for the
new price.
2020 pricing.
The new price.
Oh, she got the new price.
Well, one of the tiers of the pricing, which I have another question about that too.
So that they would have a limited number of people here, say, starting at 9 o'clock, if they had people to decorate, come and go that way.
Right,
But the main, the bulk of their guests would be coming in, I would say around 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
right.
Which is when it ends, so maybe not be a problem.
Right, so with nothing on the schedule, you know, we talked to him about what would he prefer, and with nothing being on the schedule.
Right.
You know, we were spreading out.
Yep.
Um,
I'm fine with whatever you say. I told her that we would come and talk to you tonight. If you don't want to rent the building for that time, that's fine. I mean, that's what I'm going to tell her. But when I found out that the car show didn't involve the building
Yeah.
interior.
It's not a question of whether we want to rent it.
No, I
or
know,
not,
it makes sense.
But it's whether she wants to rent it when
She's
the
going
car
to get wedding pictures taken with some of the classic cars.
So there you
Which
go.
he did talk about if there was a
Yeah, he did say
wedding.
something like
Yeah.
that.
I think, just if I can, I'm all for it. I think we can, if we can make it work for a haunted house, we can make it work for a car show.
Right.
I'm all for it.
And if we've got to, you know, not use this parking lot that we were gonna use, because what we were thinking of was using the little parking lot to set up.
The vendors.
The vendors,
So on that note,
right.
in that article, it also stated that the Parks Department was in charge of soliciting vendors and food trucks or of some sort.
Correct. Well,
Okay.
that we would reap any, that's what we
Okay,
would
so then it was
receive.
stated wrong in the
Yeah,
article.
it wasn't,
Because
it
said that
wasn't.
you guys were
We
gonna
weren't
do
I
it.
think
saying
it's
that, yeah.
misunderstood that he has vendors that can come in. He stated that the
But
park
he-
commission could, figure out what fee,
Right.
and then we would
set the
also,
fee.
Got
we
it,
would
okay.
take the catering.
Right, and then the catering would either come through us, whether we run a food booth, which would be here all day, or we talk to you and maybe
Trucks,
get
yeah.
a couple of food trucks.
Right.
you know, and go that route.
Okay.
But the money that we would get would be from the vendors.
Perfect.
And the food truck, if we get one, or the food, or whatever type of food is done.
Okay, but you're not actually going out and finding?
We're not gonna
Right.
solicit them. He said they will contact him and he will forward them to us,
Perfect.
you know, and
He's
what we
talking
get.
about the vendors that sell the car stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
just
Car
gasoline
accessories.
alleys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
Right.
understand.
So, you know, and he said, well, that would be a good spot to put them, and we're like, okay, because there's nothing going on that day, at
Right.
that time. But, you know, I mean, they need, if we're gonna have a wedding that day, they need a place to park, so we move it. That's all.
That's
I
all
mean-
I wanted clarified, because they're fine with the concept of the car show happening
Oh, then-
simultaneous to them getting married in here.
That could be a bonus on both
He was
sides.
very excited about it.
Right, 'cause it's not gonna make, it's not gonna, the car show is not gonna be a
Right.
big money maker for us, it's more, public PR.
Yeah,
You know, a good
absolutely.
thing that we can do
Yep.
and not cost us money,
Yep.
you know, and get a little bit, so if we can rent out the building
And
and get a
from our
wedding to boot.
perspective, we would keep doors locked and put nice
Absolutely.
signs saying that
Right.
there's a private event going
Right.
on.
Right, was he gonna bring in porta johns, or do we have to bring in?
He has
We
to.
didn't get that far. There are the two outside bathrooms.
We do have the 2 little bathrooms plus the bathrooms there, and we can direct people
Yeah.
that way and tell them, you know, the bathrooms for the building are not to be used, that's all.
Right.
I think we did tell them that, you know,
The hall was off.
the hall was out, and
Yeah.
he said he didn't need anything indoors at all.
No,
He was just having them out in parking lots.
What time did he say it ended though? Was it like 3, 4?
10 to 4, I thought he said. That's just my memory, is that right?
I can't
I have
remember.
to look back.
As long as it's just,
I had-
if they're gonna get married outside, as long as it doesn't interfere with the loudspeakers, whatever it is, if they're gonna be using anything, but.
We work
There's
pretty
no
good
problem.
with, even if they do, in the past, I've talked to them and said, hey, can you just give me, even the football kids, when they have their whistles, I'm like, can you just, when you hear the applause, stop blowing your whistles, but just hold off to it
Right,
until,
right.
and everyone, we all play well together.
Pickleball's fine, they're not friends.
And the gentleman was very open to,
People are very
You know, the
accommodating.
building was
We just
rented
ask
out.
If there's something going on, like the chainsaw during the haunted house, they stop the chainsaw during the ceremony. That's all we ask
They
for.
did,
Yeah, no, right. And, I mean, and we did say to him that there was a possibility that the building may be rented, and he was like, well, that's okay, that's up to you. So,
Great.
I mean, if we can do that to boot, that's
Yeah.
You
great.
know, if we have an open Saturday, we're renting it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, I mean, no, we don't want to know, we don't want to say no to anything. So if we
Right.
can, if they're okay with knowing that
Yep.
that'll be wrapping up, you know,
Yep.
in the afternoon as they're getting ready, that if they're okay with it, then that's,
They were
you know,
fine with it,
but we'll
so
just
that's
work
great.
on the parking and probably keep that parking lot open, and we'll find a different spot for the vendors.
Fortunately, July's a good time for that, so there's a lot of space up there.
Yeah, I definitely think we can make it work as long as the wedding party, knowing that that's gonna be there,
Yep.
they're not a problem with it, and we'll talk to him and make sure he knows. But again, I think he's wrapping up about that time, so,
It'll work.
And
Yeah.
he wasn't anticipating a whole lot of members of the public coming in either. He said like 200 throughout the whole day.
that's what he said.
Right, so by late afternoon, it may be
Yeah.
dwindling
Yeah,
down.
I think so, and that's what I think, that it's gonna be petering out by, 3:30.
Oh, I hope we can get more than 200 in here.
I would think so. If we get a nice day, I think we can.
Well, I don't know how many cars he had. The car and their own family that come with them is always more people than, he wasn't anticipating a lot of people.
No, the number he
But we
threw out,
can
I thought
help
was kind of
generate
low.
more. We can help generate.
Yeah, I mean-
Little social media smear.
Right, and we can definitely, well, that's what I thought is, we can help do some advertising for it, We do have a small advertising budget, and we can do something.
We can Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
we have all
Yep.
that, we can jump right on that with them
Yep,
and get it up there. You figure our Facebook hits over 2,200 people every time we throw something on there. Our Instagram's just right up there too, so,
yeah,
and that's not gonna cost anything.
yeah, and I mean,
But
the
time-
article went in the newspaper, and that didn't cost us anything, and, even if we have to put an ad in the paper to, I mean, I think we can make it work. That sounds great.
SEM has submitted all of their renewal applications for the Board of Health and through the liquor license.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's done, just so you know where we're at with that.
Good. Okay.
And you were aware, after we had a little problem with the thermostat, that will be taken care of. Well, that thermostat's already fixed.
Yes, I
but,
did know that, yeah.
That is Nate is going to, well, we're gonna talk about it tonight, but
Yep.
he's offered to oversee all thermostats electronically, like he does all the other town buildings.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
Which, if we have, so if there's a problem in the middle of the night, he'll
He
get a.
he gets a buzz.
Well,
Well,
hopefully we don't have a problem.
yeah, no, hopefully we don't, hopefully we don't. But then, they'll be being set, come up with a fair and good, and you'll still be able to override it. But what happens is it overrides and then after an hour, it shuts down.
Resets, yeah.
It resets, but that way, you bump it up while you're here, and that's not a problem. If we're working here, it's gotta be comfortable, but then when you leave it, it'll drop to whatever temperature we think is good. Obviously, if there's something going on the weekends, we want, the temperature to come up, so we gotta figure out that part of it, because he's doing it for the buildings that are there, 9 to 5 of the week,
Right.
and then the weekends, they turn the temperature down, the opposite here.
And our need of temperature change fluctuates directly with how many people we have in that room.
Sure, yeah.
And how frequent the door is open and what it's like outside,
I
so.
think giving him a calendar, if
Yeah.
he sees a fluctuation and then he references the calendar, he'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, they've got it, they're there. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Or
It's
even
just as long as we can override it during something going on in there, if they're freezing.
Right,
we
oh no,
got the
it
AC too high.
can be overridden, but then it'll go back automatically. So even for that matter, even if there's something going on for the whole day, we can just contact Nate and say, he can make an adjustment.
Well, he said that you can also set it up for whoever's in charge of the building to also get that notification. So we didn't have to bother him.
There we go.
That works, that works.
The request for the pole training, did you get?
That's on there.
It's coming up.
Okay,
Yep.
then I'm out of that one.
Okay, first we're gonna go Tri-Fest. Any further review on the Tri-Fest?
Are we all set with the parking lot for Tri-Fest and everything?
Yep.
Okay, that's all set?
Yep.
So
We're not gonna use the small parking.
they're not using the small one?
No.
It's
no.
done.
We gotta give the wedding party.
Okay.
We're gonna be here
set
to
up.
see it.
We're also gonna
Right.
be here.
Right.
But, he anticipates being, and that because that's the short race, they anticipate being out of here by, between 11 and 12 o'clock. Powering Triple E, which would set us back an hour.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Let's hope not.
Thank you.
So we're working with that, and we'll work more with you guys and make sure the
Yeah.
timing is gonna work.
Yep.
And if it's not, then we'll have to park them someplace else.
We'll figure it out. We'll keep our wedding parties
Yeah,
up to date.
yeah, I mean, if we see that it's gonna be too close, then we'll open up an outfield if we have to, not that I want to, but,
I
that's what
think
we have
it'll
to
all
do.
work.
I think it'll work, we just gotta really look at the times, and, like, I talked to my wife and said, how long did it take you to complete, the thing? And she said there were probably people that were an hour after her, and she did it,
I would still be running, so.
and she did it in 3 hours. She
Yeah.
says the last person finished in 4 hours. And, had they gone off at 7 o'clock, they would have been done at 11.
Yeah.
So by going off at 8, they were done at 12. So hopefully it should work. As far as the logistics portion of the event.
Perfect.
Okay, poll worker training request.
You have the memo from Lillian
Yes,
in with your paperwork.
yes.
It's there somewhere. The last time it was held here was 2016.
It was done here. Huh?
Yes. They switch around communities that host it.
13 communities, she said.
Yeah, 13 communities take part.
Because I inquired with Mr. Hopkins, and he didn't remember it either. I don't remember it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't.
It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
She did say that she needs no special setup, whatever we have set up is fine, and she figures between 100 and 120 people from neighboring communities.
Food and all that stuff.
She didn't say any food, she just said it was a training on a Friday. I think.
At 2?
Yeah,
It's at 2?
I think it's
No,
only
It's
for
not
a
like an all-day thing.
couple hours,
No,
no, it's a
no.
couple hours. So it's after our BNI group is out. I mean, it'll give the opportunity for people to be in the building and see it that might not have known that we exist, so.
And they're all neighboring communities, so.
Right.
Yep, do you have any problems with that date? Is there anything going on that Friday?
We don't
night?
have anything, and even on her weather date was fine, we didn't have.
Yeah, both of the dates were open.
Snow day,
Wide open,
24th.
The question would be cleaning fee.
Yep. Yep, that is the question. We do charge a cleaning fee. Anybody have any suggestions as to that?
As of right now, there's nothing the following day
Mhm.
of the original date, but
Yeah.
on the rain date, if it falls on that rain date, there is a party the following day.
So that wouldn't be an
Birthday
issue as
party.
far as cleaning because our cleaning is done by 6 AM and the day following an event.
Right.
So he's early morning and done by 6 AM.
So they're requesting this room here.
Yes.
The dime.
What's the fee for the cleaning for that room?
90?
It's
No,
100.
it's
No,
100.
it's 100.
That includes diamond,
Bathroom.
bar, and foyer bathrooms.
Right, foyer bathrooms, right, absolutely.
So we use a fee with that one too?
They're asking
They're
for that to be waived.
requesting to have that waived. But if
I
we...
see that, yeah, but I assume there's been stated in the so.
Right. It's
Yeah,
not-
it doesn't,
It's not
I think
stated.
it's implied. It doesn't.
It's
it doesn't-
implied?
It doesn't, it's just, they usually just ask if they can use the building.
Right, correct. And then it's implied that it's a freebie.
Have we done, you don't know what we did in 2016, but there was a freebie then?
In 2016, there's
I'm
no record
sure.
of it.
We don't have any record, so I can't imagine anything's...
I'm sure it happened here.
I'm sure it probably did, I don't remember it. I asked Danny, he didn't remember it.
I'll motion that we allow them on this date or their snow day, and they only have to pay the cleaning fee.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed. No negative votes. So, that's what we can inform her of, and that's a statement. I mean, we have to pay $100, so. I'd like to say we can just give it to someone, but we have our own budget issues. So we have to do, unfortunately, what we have to do. Okay. Oh,
I do see it on the calendar.
Hmm?
In 2016, election training, 2 to 4.
Well, okay,
It did get put in there.
okay. So try first. Any further updates? Mike,
I got a signed contract today.
Are we still on SEM?
Tri-Fest?
Yeah,
Oh.
We still on SEM?
yeah, we're still on SEM.
I don't have anything.
Updates?
We talked about
Just
already.
that I did receive a signed contract yesterday, and he inquired about food trucks for food on the first day, which he doesn't usually have food on the
Correct.
first day, and now he wants to bring food in. So I told him about the policy of the Board of Health, that it has to be an approved vendor.
Absolutely.
All of the certifications that we needed, if he wanted to bring in a food truck that's not on our vendor list, they needed to contact us and go through the process.
And that was all the information that was provided for him last year by me, because he wanted to do it. It was like in the 11th hour, he was trying to get a food truck here, and they weren't able to get it together because it was just too late. So I
Right.
did give him the list of the Board of Health requirements and what it would be for
Right.
the park commission.
And if we have somebody new, I think there's a deposit. Wasn't there a
Yes.
deposit?
You
To
would have
ensure
to-
the fact that we get paid, because that's
Yes,
what
we've
did happen one time?
eliminated that from happening within the lodge. Obviously, this is a special circumstance, but traditionally, the renter who holds the contract would have to pay an additional $500 security deposit per vendor.
Right.
If he has more than one food truck.
Right.
And then that would be refunded to him once the food truck submitted their revenue fee to the town or to SEM
Right.
that got sent to Lakeville.
I thought that's what it was, that's, I just
Yeah.
wanted.
And fortunately with the food trucks, they're really good about doing festivals and fairs, and they understand that there's usually an increase in their rates, which would reflect what needs to meet the difference.
Right.
The one comment I would have about that is now he wants to do that on the day of the wedding when we've been told the race is over by a certain time. But I would think a food truck being there would extend lunchtime.
What are they
So-
gonna, you have like breakfast?
Last year, I think he just wanted to do morning, like
Yeah, I-
we'll
We'll find out.
find out,
We'll
yeah.
find out.
And where
I'll
is
send you the
the
email,
lineup
because to me, it seemed like it was more,
Offering lunch, 'cause
Yeah.
we don't do it on the second.
Well, we'll give him a time limit.
yeah.
That's all.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm
No,
not-
you know what I mean, because we don't want it to,
Yep.
we don't want it to infringe, but if anything, it's gonna be out there, it's gonna be down there,
Yep,
you know, like maybe over by the horseshoe pits, I mean, the volleyball courts.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near here, so that it's
Yep.
away,
it's fine.
and we'll put a time limit on it. So if you could just, you wanna reach out to him on that, just see what he's feeling.
Yep.
I could forward you the email. I took it to be lunch, but I could have been wrong.
Yeah, I've already asked him several times to contact us with anything before he goes to you. Once again, he called you before he comes to the town,
Yeah,
which is irritating me.
Right, because then you're bringing it to us, and, you know, it's just,
Yeah, it's every time.
Welcome to our world.
no, I know.
Oh, okay, well, maybe,
Right.
It's a fun place to
You
hang
know,
out.
it's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. But there again, we'll, you know, if we allow it, we'll tell them there's gonna be a time limit. They're gonna be out of here by X amount of time, and he knows there's a time crunch on Saturday.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, when we say there's gonna be a time limit, I think he's gonna understand that this is why. You know, we don't want them selling lunch at 12 o'clock when we want the people out of here.
Right.
But the food trucks also, we get a percentage of that money too?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we were
Just-
talking
just
about.
like
with
a
the
caterer.
security
We're just a
deposit.
caterer on wheels.
Yeah.
We get
Yeah.
a percentage there too.
But they would still have to go through all the certifications
Correct.
and sign the contract.
Correct, right. And
Do you have a lot of food trucks that you've already approved? or-
You have a couple,
Two,
right?
right?
We have 2 that are approved, but I'm working to, in hopes,
Yeah.
in hopes, in my spare time, get approved to try to bring more traffic through the park on an evening, so maybe do like a food truck Thursday, which would be a little more back-end work, but it would just get people to come through, enjoy the space,
Yeah.
build it, and bring revenue in that really we don't have to work for.
Don't have to do a lot for it.
Right, that's not a bad idea, especially when it gets busy with like the soccer practices,
Exactly.
That's
football
what we're
practice
trying
and
to-
stuff, and,
Right. And that's what you and I were
Just
talking
to,
about.
yeah, just to bring
Set up a
more.
little bar too?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, sure.
We actually have that ability.
Yeah. You know the
I know
bartender?
someone. I
You
know
the bartender?
someone. I know someone.
Something at my home, a burger and a beer right here.
Yeah.
That's not gonna interfere with the snack bar for baseball, is it?
Mm, it would.
We have to,
The baseball has a,
They didn't have much of a snack bar last year.
I don't know, I know they have one, I don't know.
But that's just-
well, yeah, we have to work with them and see what they had planned.
Yeah, well, we
I
don't
know
go.
soccer brought their own food truck in a couple of years ago when I was on the thing, they used to have like
Yeah.
actual food thing that came in on Saturday morning rather than,
I've been there, I smelled that food.
yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
smelling good.
The only other thing about the lodge is the heat got fixed. I don't know, did they replace the thermostat?
there was a spare thermostat upstairs that they replaced the one that was in French or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Celsius.
We got it out of Celsius. We got it out of Celsius. Well, it helped when you had the instructions.
Yeah.
Nate had the new one, so I started reading the instruction and I went, oh, to change it, you press these 2 buttons together. Oh, okay. You know,
I would
I mean,
never got that.
Mike and I played with it for half an hour.
We just did the conversion.
I just Googled the conversion.
Yeah. But anyway, we got it changed back, but then he was gonna have it taken care of. And,
Perfect.
Because they have a bag of parts that they would have to order to do some work.
Right.
So we keep it here.
Yep.
You know, and that way, you know, I mean, it's the things like that they would have to order, and if it was really cold and we're having a problem, it's already here, where it would take 2 or 3 days to get here.
Yeah,
So there's certain parts they keep on stock, and he does that in some of the other town buildings also.
that makes sense.
So that was one of the things that was here on hand, so that was good.
but what about these things that, the covers on these things, all broken off here? I mean, we fixed that idea, I mean, I know they're gonna be monitored by Nate, but someone's been breaking these things off, right? These covers here?
Oh, yeah.
Who's doing that? I mean,
That's a story that's old as time.
okay.
Since they went in, they're getting broken off.
I will say that I've never seen a guest in this building trying to adjust the heat. I'm sure it happens during BNI, but for an event, someone always
They always
comes
come
to
to
the
the
bar
bartender,
and asks
yeah.
for the heat to be adjusted. So,
And those are just wide open, so.
Yeah, right. I mean, those are there.
it's not, and we shut the heat down or
So
the
who's
AC
breaking?
down.
We breaking them?
No, we have keys. It's,
We need the keys, yeah.
Oh, well, someone's breaking it. It's
Yeah.
not the event, it's not us. Gremlins.
so in the
Yeah.
past, yes, they have been broken by people who have been attending functions when they thought that they should be building maintenance. But since they've been gone, people actually come to the bar to get them adjusted. If you have a better way to stop the plastic from being broken, I'm all for making it work.
We fix them over and over again. And admitted it's a fee.
But if it happens at an event, we charge people a fee, right?
If it's notated, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what maybe we should look at, I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
I was like
Well,
dealing
one
with kids
over
here.
capacity room, it looks perfectly fine.
No,
But it's
all you
broken.
do is- all you gotta do is do this and you can stick a finger up in there. So it looks fine?
There's gotta be nothing we can try, I mean, you
Oh,
know,
we can-
those shitty plastic, besides those plastic ones, we can do better than that.
All I have to say is at the end of the event, we go around and adjust the heat the way it's supposed to be. So if it's a little higher during a 3-hour event,
Yeah,
Is
and
it
then
worth
also
to
we'll-
continually
we'll-
replace
we're
the
just talking
plastic?
about the date.
Yeah.
Will alleviate a lot of that because nobody will be able to come in and turn it up and then off you go and leave it at 78
Right.
because it'll be picked up.
And we check them before we leave the building to make sure they're not set at some wacky heat. Like if if we put it down to like 60 in the kitchen or 60 in the CW room during the times that they're not there, because there's no need to keep the building.
Yeah, my only problem is if someone's breaking something at an event, just like breaking a window, I mean, nobody else to break it.
Well, I mean, then we can pay to have new ones put on, and if somebody breaks in, we can charge them.
Whatever.
No, Joe, I know what
But
you're
it
saying.
seems that way, you
No, I'm
know,
only
you know,
giggling because
No, I hear
we've
you.
had the same conversation
Time, so-
since we opened this building. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
It's like
what
the first week we opened the building, that was happening.
it's something they have to look at, if they, in the event, I don't know, charge them. Have $1,000 for them, I don't know. We should, you know.
Well, our security deposit doesn't allow for that much money.
Right.
True.
I mean, I like where your head's at, because I will definitely do.
Oh, the security deposit was $200, right?
Yeah.
It's
It
5
was,
for a
it's
wedding.
500 now.
For a wedding.
It's $500, so that would cover
Get
it.
rid of that.
2 for an event.
All right.
Yeah.
That would cover a guy to come out and fix it. Maybe.
And
Just say
literally,
leave them.
Maybe it would be a good idea to
Let us
let people know that if they break the covers off, if we put the covers on and they break the covers off, they're gonna get charged for it.
yes.
If their, drunk relatives break the covers off.
I think it's listed in the contract that there's building damages.
Yeah.
But first of all, we'd have to pay to have them all replaced.
Right.
And then we-
First and foremost, yes.
I
Okay.
don't know what that would cost.
Maybe there is a better one out there.
There could be, there might be something now that's better.
I'll research it. I will be free tomorrow. I will look at that.
Okay.
We just kind of resolve it, resolve to the fact that, yeah, it keeps happening. So,
Do you ladies have anything else that you need to bring up?
I don't have anything.
I think we will need to review 2022 pricing,
Okay.
because coming into 2020 is now when we're gonna start selling.
Yep.
The only increase that we had talked about was potentially just increasing the wedding rate on a Saturday. Where our
That's
Saturdays.
the day.
Yeah, our Saturdays, we can sell 3 times over. It would potentially give the driving force to go to a Friday or a Sunday where it's less of a fee.
Yeah, and then someone else can take the Saturday at full price.
Right.
Right. No,
We know we can sell that,
Yeah.
and not increase it so
No.
I mean, the increase that we initially went with.
it's still low.
nobody's
No,
blinking.
Well, we weren't low, we were higher than 2 of the comparisons I think we did. But no one is blinking is the point. It's not even,
Which means there's money on the table on Saturdays that I want to take.
All right. So, when do you think you want to do that?
It'll be for 2022, because we've already sold we've already had the set contract for 2021,
Okay.
2020 is a lot going on.
I think it was April.
So do you want,
last one?
Do you want to come back in 2 months, 4 months?
Yeah,
What do you think?
no,
No.
January.
January.
We'll come back in January with
Okay,
the
good.
proposed Saturday price.
Good, all right, so we'll look at what the agenda looks like in January, and then we can work on that.
Okay,
That's a great project.
and we'll come with a proposed price.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for the ladies? That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
all
coming.
again for your support.
Thanks for coming. Okay, we have the part-time employee review.
Okay, can we skip to snow removal, because they go together.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought that's what that was, all right.
Yeah, snow removal position. I have contacted Doug Berry,
Yep,
and he is interested in still doing it, and he was here to do it already. He was concerned about the snow blower not working, so I actually came down and fixed it one day. And he assured me that he would get down to town hall,
Okay.
fill out the paperwork.
Yes,
Did he?
yes, he has, HR sent me his letter,
great.
his acceptance letter. So that is, his employment letter. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Great.
Okay, so if everybody's okay with continuing on with that, that does affect our part-time employee review. We need to vote on that. We already voted.
Why don't we make a motion to,
Make a motion that we bring back Doug Berry for the snow removal position. For this year.
Yeah, second it?
we have a second? Any further discussion? The rate is the posted rate. I forget what it is, but it's posted, it was posted, and he accepted the position, so. I believe it was a step up from last year. And, so that's good. That's one headache we won't have to worry about. I know last year, there was a couple issues in the beginning, but once things got moving, it was on the weekends, contact Nikki. Other than that, Wednesday and Friday, you gotta be here early, because we have the 2 BNI groups. And on the weekends, just, you gotta, I mean, and what I said to him, I mean, it's a priority that you get here, but, you don't have to kill yourself to get here on a Thursday morning, because there's nobody gonna be here. But you gotta get here Thursday sometime, because the doorways all have to be shoveled, for the fire department and everything like that. But that way, if he is in contact with Nikki with a snowstorm coming on the weekend, he knows he has to be here, to take care of it. So, once that part of it got worked out, towards the end of the season, it worked out pretty good, and I think the problems got alleviated. So hopefully this year we won't have any.
Yeah, so the last storm, he was heading down here, and Linda had already done it. It wasn't much snow, but
No.
Linda had already done it. And I once again reiterated to her that we don't want her doing that, and we have someone who's hired to do it.
Correct.
So she knows that she should not to be doing that, shoveling snow.
Correct.
We didn't
Okay.
vote on it.
What's that?
We didn't vote on it. Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Jesse.
Unanimous decision. We
Okay,
had
so other
conversation.
part-time,
Go ahead.
other part-time employee review. I had asked Scott what our position was as far as the 2 other part-timers for the winter, Linda and Bobby. I always thought, when I was on the committee before, Bobby was done at Thanksgiving. But I guess he's been working through the winter,
He's working today.
the last couple of years. So I don't know, we need to decide whether we need him or not. Linda, we've traditionally had her through the winter just to have someone here if there's a problem or if we need to touch up the paint.
What she does is she comes in, the girls take care of Wednesday morning BNI. Linda comes in for Friday morning BNI, which is like, they come in at like 6:30.
Right.
So she'll come in, open up the building, and then she'll, it's a good time for her to work inside. She's inside while they're here. Starts painting, cleaning the kitchen, doing a deep clean on the bathrooms, whatever, inside stuff, where she's close to the building.
Which she did last week. She did a big heavy duty cleaning on the kitchen. And
Right.
I think you had told me she had already done the bathrooms, right?
I had talked with her about it. I don't know if she had or not.
Okay.
I don't know if she had or not.
Okay. I think she was, because that was when we heard about the toilet running.
No, they weren't, the floors weren't cleaned that day.
Oh, okay. All right.
They were kind of dirty
Okay.
that day.
All right. And the other thing is I think they're cut down from 18 hours to 9 hours?
Well, I mean, the board has to make that decision.
Okay.
The board made that decision last year. Darryl brought it up, and the board made that decision. They cut the entire maintenance hours back to 8 hours from 36, because they were both 18-hour part-time employees. I was away on vacation, and that was voted in to cut the entire budget. And I mean, there's not a lot to be done, 4 hours of it was spent while she was here. She was inside painting trim, cleaning windows, painting, whatever needs to be painted. I mean, we're trying to sell this building, so it's a good time to spruce it up and get it up to snuff for the upcoming spring.
So, but it's also a 0 to 18-hour position, right?
That is the position, is quoted as a 0 to 18 hours. So it's not guaranteeing anyone 18 hours a week.
Who makes the call if they come in or not? Do you guys make that call?
Well, we do, yeah.
Well, the board makes that decision. And
Yeah, from week to week, if they're gonna come in, 18 hours next week or not.
Supposedly I am.
Okay.
But that's one of the issues I have. They kind of,
well, I mean,
rather than ask, they,
You come in.
yeah.
well, I
And
mean,
Bobby's been coming in, and as far as I know, we're gonna have to send him a notice, I think, if we decide that you're done for the winter.
I mean, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, if we make that decision, I think we should make the decision so it takes any onus off of you, so that, no, I know, but
Do we have tasks that they should be doing? I mean, besides blending the paint, is there anything else we can have them do?
well, I mean,
Well, that's the question.
today he was, blowing leaves away from the building. He was trying to clean up in front of the building here. He was getting the leaves that had blown in after the last time they cleaned it, and he was blowing them away. That's what he was doing when I drove through. I mean, how many times can you do that in the wintertime? I would think this would be the last time.
Could he start cleaning up that park course? I mean, if it's not snowed over?
I mean, we could, if we want to do a project like that. The problem is, what happens the day it's pouring rain or it's snowing out,
Right, yeah, it'd be
And
weather
he's
dependent.
scheduled to come in. He's gonna
Yeah.
come in, unless we tell him no. So I think we need to make a decision, either we're all set with him, or you're just using Linda, or whatever we're gonna do. Last year was the first time that we actually cut the hours back in the last couple of years, but I don't think Bobby was working a lot the year before. So, I think we should make a decision one way or the other.
Well, just being the person that oversees this park, I don't personally think that we need 2 people
Nope.
on for 18 hours over the winter. I think we could leave them on call if that'll be okay for them. See, during the summer it's not a problem, because Bobby has certain things he does every week. Linda has certain things she does every week.
Right.
I don't mind keeping them both on the books. They are both permanent, part-time. Not how you call it?
Permanent part-time
Part-time.
employees, scheduled for 0 to 18 hours a week.
But I think, and I really don't have a problem with it leaving it 0 to 18, but I guess that's what it is now. So
Yep.
I'll just tell them, whether we need them in or not.
So, I don't know who Bobby is. He couldn't be the snow cleaning guy?
No,
Couldn't do it.
he couldn't commit to that because of his job, where Dougie is retired from the school department. You know, so the only thing Dougie does is a substitute teaching, so he can work it into his schedule. But Bobby couldn't commit to being here any particular day because he cleans.
full-time job.
Yeah, he's got a full-time job cleaning floors and carpets and.
Right.
And they used to shovel last year too, right? So Doug's taken some of those hours from them, so,
Doug did it last year.
oh, he did it
Doug was
last year
hired
too.
last year.
Doug was hired last year, yep. Before that, Linda used to do it.
Before that, Mr. Hopkins did it.
And then Mr. Hopkins before that. So, we just,
Okay, so we can leave, basically, we can leave it the way it is.
yep, and you just control it, and if there's something going on and you need him to work, or you can have Linda work
Yeah.
8 hours a week, or,
Yeah, it's a bad situation because neither one of them answer the phone. So
Right.
if it's all right with you folks, I'm gonna let them know that I need a specific way of getting a hold of them. And
Yeah.
I will let them know what their schedule is, and don't come in if you're not scheduled.
yep. Or maybe have them call you on Sunday or something, I don't know.
It's fine with me. It's just irritating because,
No, I know it is. I know it is.
which is not to say they're not working when they're here, it's just, we should be letting them know when to work.
Yep, especially this time of year.
Yep.
So as far as the part-time employee review, do we have paperwork that we need to review them?
I don't think so, that was just.
Is that what you meant by the review?
Yes,
Oh,
was the
okay.
discussion
Employee
of
review? Okay.
the part-time employees for the winter.
Okay, all right.
Sorry if that wasn't clear.
Because there is an annual employee review too that's supposed to be done.
I do not have that.
Okay,
That was not presented to me yet.
okay. All right, so that takes care of both of them. Sports season fertilizer cost proposal.
It's the same
Can I just,
information.
before we get on to
Yes,
that?
yep,
Yep.
go ahead.
I see on here there's an purchase of solar lights for the sign, possibility, also on Ted Williams.
Where's this?
Still on the
Detail,
Ted Williams
turn
account?
around.
Oh,
General update.
yep. Well, let's put it this way. When you drive down this way, the light that's out there used to shine and you could at least see the sign, you know, or as you were driving along because it was dark. And now, with the illumination of the police department, you don't even see the Ted Williams Camp sign. I see a car putting on the brakes as he's going by.
I was kind of that way tonight, it was awful, there's no.
Yeah, it's
Right,
completely
and it's just
dark.
because that's illuminated now and we're not at all.
Yeah.
And you don't notice the sign till it's too late. So, we don't have electricity to the signs. There is electricity there. It can be brought in, because there is conduit there and it was set up to bring the electric in to light up that sign or put lights on that sign. But the one out here has no electricity. So that's why I threw out their solar lights. I know they're
Oh,
probably
I
not
was
the
wondering
best.
where that came from, because I was talking to somebody at all the glitters here. They said, oh, this is great, everything's great, except last night we came to set up and went right by,
Right,
because you can't see the sign.
right,
And
right.
they were suggesting solar lights.
Right.
Would it be all right if I looked into the cost of solar lighting?
Sure, yeah, I mean, I was gonna do it, I didn't have the time.
Okay,
Um,
we can post it, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's a great idea, without the expense of bringing in electricity.
right, especially for the backside.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the front side, we could do it, it would be less costly because the conduit, when they built that entrance, they put the conduit in so that the electric can be run.
Oh, it's not run, yes.
It's not
just
run yet.
conduits there, so. okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But it can go to the pole, so,
I mean, we should look into maybe, something in the springtime, getting regular lights out there, going to solar in the meantime. But solar lights aren't worth a dime usually either, they're not that
right,
good
and
for
Well, let's
lighting
look
wise.
into it.
you got a cloudy day, you don't have lights.
Yeah, that's all.
No, I know. But I think we need to do something, especially now where it's darker more than it's not.
It'll go.
So we can look into that and see what we can do.
Yeah.
But it's just, I found it funny. I mean, you used to be able to see the sign, not that you could see it, but it's because it was the only thing there, you know? And now with the other lights there, you really can't even tell it's there. I was gonna put some reflectors on there or something just to, but, I put them in the park instead. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the detail here. Yeah, so that was, I had Nellie put that on there, a couple weeks ago, just to talk about that and see what you guys thought about some type of lighting.
Yeah.
You know, if there, I mean, we don't wanna get something cheap and junky, it's not gonna work. See what we can come up with.
Well, with LED lights now, they take very small amount of wattage.
Okay.
So there's probably something out there that's a little better than, you know,
See,
what we thought of in the past.
And-
Might get some solar lights on my yard also as well. He has some nice ones are out there. I also have low voltage ones out there too, so.
Right.
If you can do low voltage, that's the way to go, but if not, there's some solar ones we can get, at least in the short term, so
And,
they are.
and this sign out here, I think could take spotlights better than this sign, because you've got the plastic,
Yeah.
and it's gonna reflect off it. I think what if we get electric lights out for this one, I think we need to put something inside the case,
Yeah,
you know,
on top of it.
so that it's inside the plastic, because if we hit the plastic, I think it's gonna reflect off, and you're not really gonna see what's on there. Just my thought, maybe I'm wrong, wouldn't be the first time. Okay, fertilizer, cost proposal, by Justin.
Yeah, and it was from the last time, it was pushed on there again. I don't know if you guys want to table it since he's not here to review it. But the increase in the fees for the sports teams haven't been communicated yet, because we were trying to hammer that out.
I know, we've got to do that before long,
Right, and then we have to figure out the date for our meeting with the sports teams as well.
right? Which is usually the end of July, beginning of February.
End of January, beginning of February, yeah.
Yeah, what did I just say? I don't know.
You said July.
I said the end of July? Yeah, no,
Yes.
we can't
No.
wait till July.
It's a little late.
That's a little
It'll be a
late.
little late.
Yeah, so it's usually January, February.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard
It's not
time.
making any sense here, but
Yeah, I think that's why we kind of need him to
Yeah.
really lay out
So I
the
think what we need to do is,
information.
we need to come up with a potential email to all the groups, talking about the increase, or do we send an individual one to each group? But that there will also be
oh, I see what you're saying.
a recoup of fertilization costs that 8 years ago used to be paid by these groups, and now for some reason we're paying for it.
Well, I think we can go either way. It's up to you guys whether we initiate the conversation with an email out to everybody saying user fees for 2020 will be increasing, dependent on your group, will be dependent on your increase. And we will communicate the individual teams, groups, increases.
Right, the thing I'm saying.
To the representatives.
We gotta get this out there that there's gonna be pretty much a raise to $20 per head,
Right.
so that they can figure that into their, I mean, it's only a $5 increase, but then they can figure it into their costs. They'll probably raise it 10 and blame it on us. It's happened in the past.
Okay, so I make a motion that we send out to all the sports teams and all the users the proposed increase of to $20 per head for all teams, and then the two other ones, the Little League flat fee and the AAU teams flat fee, as discussed in earlier meetings, and hold off on the recommended fertilizer upcharge until we can talk to Justin.
What if we draft something and discuss it next week, next time, for you know that you could put them together?
can
Don't
put
send it
something
out,
together.
please, but just.
Yeah, if you want to do it
keep
that
the
way.
ties on that.
Yep.
Just draft a letter, and then maybe we can have the discussion on the fertilizer, maybe over by then, so we can have it, she's done.
Okay, we need to get something out to the
Yep,
sports teams ASAP, because they're gonna start
they are starting.
opening up their
Registration.
So,
I mean, we've already voted on these,
we're not meeting until January, that's my only.
Yeah.
the middle of this proposal for 2020, we've already voted this, that you know, they're gonna go to $20 a head.
Right.
Little League, no, Little League was not, no.
Yeah, there were a flat
It was
AAU.
Little League wasn't 3,500, I think it was 3.
Yeah, I think Justin has some of
In
those.
AAU, right?
I thought that went up to 1,000 too.
No, it didn't go to 1,000.
Okay. 900?
It may have been 900.
Hold
Um,
on. Let's see, AAU was 900,
There you
Yep,
go.
600 to 900,
yep,
and no fertilizer fee for them.
right, correct.
Now, we were calling AAU and out-of-town softball is the same.
Same
Right,
thing,
yeah,
right, right.
And what was the one for the Little League? From 2,500 to?
25 to 3, I think.
Yeah, I'll look at the minutes here, don't see that one in the minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to find it too.
2,500 to 3,000,
Figure out when
yeah.
we did that.
FLAA,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, so my point is, I think we need to get ahead to the, before our next meeting. But that's just my opinion.
No, I agree.
But if we do, let's put it in there, that's gonna be, it'd be an additional fee at a later time. 'Cause
Correct,
you know,
that's what I was saying, that we are working on a fair and equitable
Yeah.
chargeback for the fertilizer.
yeah.
The way he's gonna figure it out here, it's negligible.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I mean, we still may take a loss, but I think we gotta get some of it back, you know, we're not
No,
gonna be too
correct.
picky, you know.
Correct,
we
we're not
ballpark it.
recouping it all,
Yeah.
no, we're not hitting them
That's
for
fine.
all
Okay.
of it. Okay,
All right, so what's the consensus? Send them an email with the user fee updates?
Could you let us see, you draft it, let us see the verbiage in the next couple of days, and then we can send it out?
Yes.
Just so we're on the same page before we send it. To Mike's point,
Yes.
get it before the next meeting, though, yeah.
Yes.
So I make a motion.
You did.
and, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Alright.
All right.
So voted. Okay,
We're gonna also redo the contracts too for both, okay, split it out, make separate the contracts out. I was gonna have a separate contract for, John Pond.
Yep.
You know, and I think we need to do the same thing here, because I'm gonna have a check off for each field. You know, use field 1, field 2, field 3, blah, blah, blah. You may wanna do something different here too. I think Justin even mentioned that too, so.
Well, they do it different here because, like Little League only uses the one, well, they use the one field for Little League, right?
But is it
The
that
contract is the same.
4 fields. They use 4 fields.
They use 4 fields?
4 fields.
I just didn't know if it was, I didn't see, when I saw it, I didn't think it was called out on the form.
It's
They
not.
could use 4 fields or 2 fields, and
It's on like the receipt, sort of like the permit or pass that they
right,
get, right? Is that it?
Right.
So whatever they receive, and Justin's probably giving
Right.
them,
We were
you've got
issuing
this at this
I
time.
Field pass.
was gonna like put a checkbox on the form itself, the main part. You want field 1, okay.
Right, because that was one of the reasons why we bought a laminating machine, was we issue a field pass. It's signed by us, and it says right on it what you have and when you have the field.
That was pretty good.
So the coach can carry it in his bag, and if there's a question, he takes it out and goes, this is when I have the field,
I like that, that's good.
you know, to alleviate a phone call to get somebody down here. To hopefully to alleviate a phone call. Okay. John Pond Park,
Close to the season.
I see you got a top on there,
The
looks
top was
good.
on it and it held up with the wind.
looks good.
I went down to the RV place,
Yep.
and no one could tell me the width of an RV. 8 feet or 9 feet. So I'm saying, well, like, I gotta know. So I'm like, screw it. I went home, I went to job lot,
Yep,
put a tarp.
that's fine.
Cheaper that way than
Yep.
just tied it down.
No,
So
that's work,
You
it
got
looks
it all
good.
taped up or something, or?
I got it tied up, three
Yeah.
different levels, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, looks good, looks good.
And the
Looks
screen
good.
doesn't look too bad, so.
Yeah, no,
Kind
no,
of
it's
blends in
fine.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will hold up and use it again next year and the, year
Yeah,
after.
should be able to
and
get a
all
couple of years out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the one I got on top,
Oh, you're talking about the tarp? I thought you were talking about the bathroom.
Oh, no, no. I hope we get more than a year out
that.
of
I
it.
hope so. I hope when I open the door in the springtime, nothing's busted in there.
Okay, the new fields on Route 18?
I get to one
Oh,
other question
okay,
for
go ahead,
that.
I'm sorry.
I know we talked about it, and the big building there.
Yep.
I know we use the top part, we have the equipment in there, they don't use the back underneath. It's, kind of, who knows? What can we do with that building? Can someone come and take a look at it and say, hey, structurally, this is good, bad, or something? Because I know people say, oh, we only use the front, don't use the back. Well, what if someone does? Is there a liability for us? Do we need someone to go in and say, hey, this is condemned, not condemned? I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering what we have to do in the springtime. Because, you know, the team's gonna be in this, they're gonna use some practices on the top out like they've been in the past. What if someone, you know, just, you know, what if they fall through the floor? I don't know. I don't know how bad it is. I was gonna go take a look at it maybe this week and go look around, but I didn't know if we needed someone from the town to say, hey, look at the structure, look at this building here. Is it, well, can we have people in there?
That would be Nate.
Okay.
You know, and we go by his word. If he says no, then it's no. You know,
Right.
I mean, so, we can reach out to Nate and maybe, I can give him your phone number and.
If you could, just,
And that way you guys
just wanna
can.
walk through it with them.
Yeah,
Say, hey,
that's what I
you
mean.
know, That's all.
No, I mean.
I just don't want to get in
He is
trouble
the
if someone's in
building
there.
inspector amongst other things.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still part of his job and,
Hey, if
you
you
know-
let me know his number, I'll call him.
Okay,
I can
yeah.
meet him over there, we can go through it.
Yeah,
I
I'll
just
send
wanna
I'll
make sure
send
we
it to
do,
you.
we now in the springtime, it's not dire, it doesn't
Yeah, no,
just
no,
wake or
right,
anything,
right,
but
right,
I think we need to take a look at that. I don't know if you agree with that.
I agree with that,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
And if he says, you know, it needs to be torn down, then maybe we can look at some, options as far as, you know, trying to get some of our retained earnings towards
Yeah.
demolition and perhaps, because they need some kind of bigger
Yeah.
storage down there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be nice if you could get the whole thing working again, you know. Like I said, it's got power to it, it's a nice building, but except underneath, it's a little shady in the back there, so,
Right, I know that it was it was closed off at one point, they could only use like half of it.
yeah.
I don't know if, you know, we gotta get someone in there to put up walls and say you can't go.
That's what I'm saying,
Then that's fine.
If Nate tells me, I'll work with the softball people to do that.
Right,
I just
right.
need to know, is it good or bad? I don't
No,
want
no.
to go in there.
Nate's the guy we gotta talk to
Okay.
on that.
All right. That's all I got.
I'll send you his contact information.
Thank you.
Okay. Route 18 Fields?
Okay, I believe that DM Drilling got his check.
Good.
Yeah.
That wasn't on that
And-
Thursday.
Yeah, did you put together an invoice for, not an invoice for, well, he has to put the invoice for
Yep,
us.
yep.
Okay, all right, so I still have to contact him.
Okay.
He's not in any big hurry for it. And then, Nelson Excavating, should be down, I have to call him because he said he was gonna be down before now. Just as we were mentioning earlier, to spread the tailings and start to work on the, parking lots down there. But,
Yep.
other than that, everything was shut down and
Yep. I
Good.
took Corey down there on Saturday. He hadn't seen the fields, so we went down there, made the mistake of going after the rain.
you didn't walk on them, did you?
And drove off the tailings, mistake number one. My truck is still reeling with dirt. Just to let you know, I mean, we know part of the problems. There was a small pond down on the left-hand side, because the tailings and whatchamacallit blocking it. I mean, you can see it. Once we get that, you know, a swale down there, it'll help a lot. The practice field, the field on the left, was very saturated. We did get a lot of rain, but we then walked over to the parallel field to Route 18, call it Field 1, I guess, or whatever, the upper field, and just to let you know, I mean, it was solid. There wasn't a lot of standing water on it. It was, considering all the rain that we had, it was almost in playable shape, which was very encouraging.
Say that, so you'd be people on there next week.
Yeah, no, I know.
No.
I know.
Just said
But-
that right on camera.
I did.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still got a long way to go with the grass, but, we didn't walk the whole field, but we did walk around for a few minutes. That top field was in really good shape. The bottom field pretty much had an inch of water on it, all the way across, just sitting on it. But so I think we gotta do a little more work on the little culverts, you know,
Well,
around the
that's
field.
part of the contract,
Right,
also that
right.
excavating, yeah.
Yep.
I did want to mention also that, thank you to the Freetown Lakeville Soccer Club for paying for the majority of that well,
Yes.
LakeCAM well drilling.
Yep.
Once again, they're, you know, one of our in-town organizations comes through to help us out.
Good.
So thank you very much.
Okay,
That's my-
all right. The next part of the meeting is budget review. Unfortunately, I ran out of the office and didn't bring my paperwork.
The only one I had was this one.
Is this the most recent one?
It was from.
Oh, that was the one
what,
After 4 months?
Yeah.
Right.
Can we, have, Nellie send that to everybody, and we can discuss it next meeting?
Yeah, I'm trying to fine tune it as much as possible. Thursday, I have a meeting at Town Hall with Maureen and the accountant at 5 PM. And then I believe I'm gonna sit with you after, or whenever. So if anybody wants to come along.
I'm sorry, what's that meeting about?
It's a budget workshop, where this is Maureen's first time through the budgets. She wants to be involved, which is great. And also the accountant, the town accountant's gonna be involved. And then after that, Rich wanted to sit down and go over some items, which I'd be glad to do. I apologize for not bringing my information with me tonight. I ran out of the office and forgot it on my printer. But we'll take any questions you have.
Yeah, I just would like to say a few things about the budget and how we go about things. First of all, you probably didn't get the email about the budget letter, did you? Did you get that? Sure.
About
The timing of the budget and so forth, and the expectations of what the budget is.
I was told it was a maintenance budget, or to provide a maintenance budget.
Try to maintain what we got, that's what we're trying to do first.
Right.
Okay. But, there was a number of things you guys talked about tonight, having to do with maintenance and custodian service and stuff like that. And I think we should look at that and try to maybe work together and do some things together instead of, you guys, you talk about an A&R employee. I'm not saying get rid of the employees. I'm just saying work together so we can do something with custodian service, because we're trying to do that throughout all the buildings. So making Teddy in charge of the people that work for him that maintain the buildings, including things like snow plowing, the walks, and so forth. So I think those things we need to, we should talk about, because I think that we can use the staff better,
Sure.
overall. So,
Right, I mean, 'cause,
I'm not trying to steal people, I'm just saying,
no,
whatever we can do to try to make things better, so when you got a problem, you call Teddy and say, hey, Teddy, this guy was supposed to do the sidewalks and he couldn't do it, and so forth and so on, and Teddy can do it, because Teddy doesn't follow the buildings, and so forth and so on. And so we're trying to address that, as a problem, town-wide. The other problem that I think we have, and, Joe just mentioned, as an example down at Jordan Pond, about the building down there. Not only do we talk about a capital plan, but what we want to try to do is put together a repair and maintenance plan for all of the buildings. So we look at each building and say, this place is in great shape, or this place needs, the covers or whatever. As an example, because what's happened in the past that everything is, oh geez, we got this problem, how do we fix that problem? Instead of looking at it and saying, what do we need to fix? What do we need to paint? Do we need electrical work? Do we need lighting at the signs and so forth? And I think that we can better utilize the staff, once again, that Nate has available to him, that, we actually, the town side actually has a budget, to do some of those repair items, believe it or not. And so, you can maybe be part of that process. So, and what happens is in a part-time board, as you guys experience, you're all saying, well, hey, Joe will take care of this, and Mike will do this, and so forth. And if we had one person, that was coordinating that stuff, that could come back to the board and say, hey, this is what we've done, this is what needs to be done, we're scheduling this to do this, we can do it now, we can do it in the spring. And, this is happening throughout the town, so it's nothing to do with the park department at all. And it's just better communications, between the boards, and the people who are responsible, for those buildings. Because everything seems to be reactionary instead of, preparing for, So you talked about a few things that I think, that need to be addressed. So that's one area. The other area is that when we talk about, procurement, what's happened in the past is a lot of people would say, oh, let's go to Tracy, let's go to Rita, let's go to Lorraine. Once again, causing confusion and nobody is responsible for it. So the buck is going to stop at Maureen. So if you have any requests, for procurement or a question about procurement, is to go through Maureen and not to say, well, Tracy, what do you think? I'm not picking on Tracy.
No, I
But,
understand.
what do you think? And no, that's not going to happen anymore. And
That's good. That's great.
Because, that's been a problem too.
Absolutely.
And, if the person that.
We've run into that.
The person is the chief procurement officer of the town, buck stops with her, period. If she needs to delegate something to somebody, okay, that's fine, to help out. But we need to improve that communication in the whole area, not just the park department. This is not nothing to do with the department, townwide. So that's another thing that, we want to try to address. And you mentioned the part-time employee or whatever the person is that works part-time for the highway and works part-time for the park commission.
Yep.
I'd like to see to try to address that and see if we can get the person to work full-time for the highway department and do your thing too, and take that out of your budget. Okay,
That would be
which
great.
may help.
We did speak with Franklin a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
About not necessarily.
Not necessarily that.
But about whether we continue on the way it's been in the past with the sharing.
Right.
Or hire our own. Now, we put in our budget was based on having
Last year,
our own person.
before
But that can change.
these two gentlemen came on, the board did vote to hire our own employee.
Right, but that's
No, I'm just
okay,
saying-
it may continue that way.
Yeah.
But I think that, if you guys have known Franklin,
Oh, yeah, no.
Franklin's a great guy.
Oh, yeah, no,
And
yeah.
I help you any way you can, and I know he's done a lot of things for you over the years.
Yes, yep.
Done here
It's
and
been great.
there, and so let's try to coordinate that stuff
No,
and get it together.
Right, and I mean, that's how it was before, so that would be great to see it go back that way.
I don't, this is my opinion, okay, I'm not trying to speak for the board of selectmen right now. But I don't see why you should be in charge for the employee banquets, benefits and retirement. I think that's a town responsibility because we don't charge the other departments, for employee health insurance and pension and stuff like that. So once again, I think that's something we should discuss, try to coordinate better because I don't think we should be nickel and diming the park department. And that's just me, that's my opinion, okay? Like I said, the other two members may disagree with me, and that's okay. So there's that. The other thing that bothers me is that, and Nellie, you take great minutes, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was reading the minutes of the park commission a couple of meetings ago, and the reason why I was reading was because of the triathlon.
Mhm.
I wanted to see what was going on and how much it was costing and so forth and so on. And I said, okay, that was what I was looking for. But then I was reading in there that, having to do with Clear Pond, okay? Clear Pond upsets me a lot, and it has for a number of years, okay? And personally, once again, I would like to see the town take it back for residents only, because it's putting a lot of stress on staff. It's causing a lot of stress on the facilities, maintenance, and the parking is a nightmare. So what I would like us to discuss, and I got a rough estimate based upon your budget, that it looks like Clear Pond is about $50,000 a year, somewhere in there, I think,
For the payroll.
for the whole thing.
Well, there's some other incidentals and the snack stand.
Pardon me?
There's some supplies that you don't see because they're going into general supplies. Like I said, Dougie redid the whole dock, the whole top of the dock.
Okay.
That just went into repairs and maintenance, so you're not seeing that. So
Okay.
I want to work with the town accountant and change our chart
Yeah,
accounts.
so we know what it's costing.
Exactly. I want to have, repair and maintenance Ted Williams, repair and maintenance Pond, repair and maintenance John Pond, so that we can look at that and say, this is what it's costing us to run that place.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then you talked about some repairs, that you did. And once again, looking at facilities, what does Clay Pond need, you know? I mean, I know we talked about the bathrooms for years and nothing's been done.
No,
That's a whole different animal, I'm not gonna get into bathrooms.
no, no, I don't.
But, so, what I want to propose is that, and like I said, I think it's around 50, it could be a little more
Yeah.
than that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the payroll, the payroll, is it, 18, 24, and 8, and then, yeah, right. The payroll's about 50 grand, and then, I tried to find it on my computer today, and I couldn't find it. But I had done a little Excel spreadsheet, you know, trying to come up with the costs of what the costs were and what the fees that were generated to see, you know, what the difference was. I had that a couple meetings ago. And I think it was around 60 grand in total.
Oh, was it?
Because I pulled out some repairs and maintenance and then the food costs, which will be different this year because of the cash changes in the way cash is handled.
So anyways, depending upon what that is, and what do we charge for a season pass for Lakeville residents?
We reduced the Lakeville residents to 80.
Was it 100?
Yeah.
It was 100, we
Okay.
reduced it down to 80, and we increased the out-of-towners to 120 or 130? 130.
Okay, so.
Yes, that's correct, 80 and 130.
I would think that, and this is my personal opinion from people that have talked to me about it, because that was one of the biggest complaints that I heard, was that we want to go there, but it's crowded, we want it to be our own, and I don't know, but I'm saying maybe we go back to 900. I'm not proposing anything right now. Anyway, so if we looked at the cost, and it was, like I said, it was a rough estimate on my part, it looked like the town, if we stayed with Lakeville residents and the swimming lessons and the outings, I think, and the concession stand, I believe,
Yep.
right? That I think the town would have to come up with $20,000 to $25,000 in order for it to take it back as Lakeville residents, I believe, somewhere in that area.
I'm not following how that would.
If you can,
half of it is already being paid by Lakeville residents. The other half
So
has
you're-
come out from out of
Right.
Okay, all right.
Like I said, my numbers could be off a little bit, I don't know, but that was my gut feel looking at what it said.
Right. Okay.
So we wouldn't be talking about making it free for Lakeville residents?
No, not free, I mean, it can't absorb all of it. But I think that if we try to absorb $25,000, in the town's budget, and we give you $25,000 to support,
And we stop the out-of-town.
subsidize it, and then as we go forward, maybe we can add 5,000 a year and so forth and so on. So I really think this is important, because I think people, love Clear Pond, they don't love it as much anymore. I know you agree with me.
But many, rumor always heard there's not enough Lakeville people are going. If you're gonna just Lakeville, then close it, because they don't go. They say they wanna go, but if it's got a pool in Lakeville, other towns don't. I don't know, I've never been there.
Yeah,
But I don't know if there's enough interest for Lakeville people to go
I
there.
think we could find out for sure, what the number is. I know you're saying, you're looking at it, you're ballparking it, as to find out, the season's passes, last year were 17 grand, and the gate fees were 28 grand. So you're talking 45 grand. How much of that was in-town people and how much was
But I don't
out-of-town?
think you can tell. I don't
No,
think you can tell the gate, but I assume
We can't tell the gate, but we can find out the
I
passes.
was guessing and saying it's gonna be 35% will walk in from Lakeville, that's just my guess,
Yep.
So if you took that number and added it to, we know how many season passes we have for the Lakeville residents. I
Yep,
assume.
that we could,
So, I'd like to look at this because, I think it's, I really feel strongly about this, and this is me, not the other two board members, I haven't even talked to them about it yet. But, I just think that this is something, and we certainly, unfortunately, are charging the fees for the kids and
Unfortunately.
sports and so forth and so on, and I can't do away with that, right now.
we'd love to, but
I think this is one thing that we can focus on that, for short money, and if we can't find $25,000 in a $30 million budget, I have a problem with that.
And really, the only complaint, well, predominantly, the biggest complaint is the fact that it's open to everybody and not just
yep.
people of this
I
town.
agree.
Yep.
And, you know, we've always said, well, we just couldn't operate if we didn't allow people to come from out of the town. So if there was a way that we could operate, I think, you know, I think people would be very happy with that. And I think more people from in town would go.
But, yeah.
Well, some people would be very happy.
And I question, I don't know, but what I'm, a little bit of, people I've spoken to was, people in Lakeville, like they complain about it, that's how the town is, but they're not going anyway. So they're not going because there's people from Freetown or New Bedford, or whatever there. You know what I'm saying? But I think, you know, so I think it's, you have to get an idea of the pulse of the people, I think, to see what it is, but I don't think, some people have complained to me about it, we're never gonna go there anyway. So, you mean nothing to me, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, like a new Taco Bell going in, everyone's gonna yap about it, I don't even know what's happening.
I know what you're saying, Joe, but I, you know, I think it would be great if we could do that. I mean, like you said, I mean, there's still gonna be some type of fee, but if we could get some subsidy, to take the place of those out-of-town fees. I mean, you know, I mean, we don't charge enough to cover it 100% now.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's close, you know, it's within $5,000 or $10,000 depending, but that's not bad. You know, I mean, we have this place, thank God, which, you know, subsidizes everything else, you know, in our budget. But, you know, I've always said, I don't have a problem with it coming close. If we can replace that out-of-town money, I think it would be great. I think it would be great. It would be another good thing for the town.
I think a lot of people will come back because of Doug Barry, Joe.
And they have come back.
Yeah.
And they have, because
Maybe.
our season passes came up the last 2 years.
Swimming lessons are up too.
And the swimming lessons came up. We dropped the price on the swimming lessons, and we got more money. You know, just because of the people that are here. You know, I mean, if you're an out-of-town person, you know, you're not gonna come from New Bedford to bring your kid for swimming lessons, you know, 3 times a week. Where if you're an in-town person, you know, you can, and it can work.
Anyway, so I'd like to talk about that, if you guys are interested.
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll start looking at the prices of redoing those bathrooms.
Don't get too far. Yeah, that's a problem. Always been a problem.
Yeah.
I would say one addition there, when I was originally on the board before, we were just coming out that year where the whole thing had flooded, it was closed for a whole year, and we got it back up and running, and we talked about all these things then, and one of the things that came up, we started up a Facebook page, it's called Friends of Lakeville, Friends of Claremont Park, and I didn't start it, just some of the people did, and there's a lot of folks that come there that grew up in Lakeville, live in Middleborough or Carver or whatever, and they still come all the time. So that was one of the reasons, like, you know, we wanted to allow, obviously, we need the money, but we wanted to allow those folks to come. And then over the years, it's kind of morphed into like a public swimming pool from the Bedford, or, you know, would be. That's, I agree, it's a problem.
Okay, anyways, so we wanna, well, at least I wanna talk about it.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you don't wanna talk about it, but I think it's a problem, so.
No, but I know what Mike's saying, and you know, maybe we you know, make it a tri-town. I mean, the problems that Doug ran into, yeah, I know. The problems he ran into weren't from Lakeville or the surrounding towns. They were from the Taunton and the New Bedford and the Fall River, Brockton. Those were the problem issues. The little ones he did have, they weren't big ones, but you know, he had a couple issues and it got taken care of. But
Okay, the next item I want to talk about was the capital plan. You know, we're going to be updating the capital plan, and I have the capital plan from, you know, last year. And, you know, as you know, or should know, that anything above $10,000 is supposed to go into the capital plan. But but I mentioned before that some of these repair items that are under $10,000, we want to try to get a list of those things as well, so we can try to prioritize those and address some of those issues. You know, is there something important in this building that needs to be fixed? I don't know, but you know, is there a building on this property that needs to be taken down? You know, as a possibility. You know, is the building that Joe mentioned, is that something, you know,
Is this
we're searching to find out if it's structurally sound, you know, to use it, but can the upstairs be done? Can it be used? Can the downstairs, you know, be used or whatever? So I know that debate in that particular building's been going on
For years.
since I moved into town 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So it hasn't changed. But anyways, so we're gonna try to make sure that we get this realistically updated plan that we can try to address. And one of the things that I want to bring up is the parking lots here. Parking lots here are a serious problem. You know, they're flooded out. These two over here, well, actually three of them in the soccer field are flooded out, you know, all the time. And we need to talk about what we need to do to fix one or two or whatever. Unfortunately, when the town did the soccer field one, you know, they just, the highway department, and John was gone now, but he just threw down what do you call that stuff? Tell me how.
The process.
Processed materials.
Yeah.
And he didn't, you know, shoot lines. So what happens is, you can see, you get one big puddle, and that puddle keeps growing and growing and growing, and never drains off, where it should have been done that, you know, it drains off into the woods, and it doesn't. It all just settles, you know, right there, and you get some of those problems out here. I know the small parking lot, you know, is the same way. So we need to discuss what a short-term and a long-term solution would be to try to address those parking areas. Because, you know, some of these people are coming here for weddings. I mean, I was standing out in the rain in the election. Man, it was bad. It was really bad. The parking lot was terrible. You know, so we need to talk about that. And I know that's not in the capital, it hasn't been in the capital plan.
Well, no, because it had got put out to bid. Both of them got put out to bid. The soccer parking lot used to drain off to now where the police station is. That land was lower than the parking lot. That water used to drain into there. So, I mean, it would be there 24 hours and then be gone. But now, with that property being built up, it doesn't drain off, and you're right, it's that processed crap, and it just sits there. It doesn't sink into the ground. We put it out to bid last year. The low bid for, we paid, this board, this commission, paid for a design for both parking lots, okay? And then they both went out to bid. We had a sole proprietor who was gonna come in and do it, and then at the last minute, he backed out. So it had to go out to a full bid, and this parking lot came back at $80,000, and the soccer parking lot came back at $66,000.
And what was gonna be done with that spot?
The soccer parking lot, it was pretty much all along between the police station and our parking lot was a small drain, you know,
100-year drain.
100-year drain, you know, with the sand at the bottom and everything, and our plan was to put up a wood fence, which is where they got the idea for that one, along it so that somebody doesn't drive into it from the parking lot, and regrade it, pitch it, you know, so we pitch into that rather than, and I think Nate has all the plans for that, rather than, because it backs up onto the soccer fields currently now, as well as just sitting there like as you see now. That one, I think the low bid was $66,000.
Without the,
That was just for the drainage, just for the drainage part.
right, and the selectmen had agreed to pay for that,
Well, they had
but not at that price.
put aside $30,000 to help pay for it.
Because of, you know, the building because of the building of the police station and all that, they
We had encumbered 40 grand for this parking lot, and this one came back at 88,000. With the drain coming off this side of the parking lot, being redone again, 100-year storm drain. We didn't have the funds earmarked for that. We had them for the fields, and we didn't have it. Because currently when they paved this road, there was, I believe, Rita told me, and I'm not sure the exact number, approximately
170,000.
No, what I mean, there was excess.
Is it still there?
It's in capital improvements, it's supposed to be. Said it would get carried forward. Maybe it hasn't, but this is what Rita had told us. So we appropriated, based on Jeremy Peck's design, which was a year old at the time, but we had appropriated $42,000 to pay for the drainage, and then that extra pavement money would have paved it. So we would have had a great parking lot there. But that didn't happen because the bids were too high.
So you still don't have those funds available, right?
Well, that 42 that we had appropriated rolled back into our retained earnings.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, that's what that is. We hadn't appropriated anything for the soccer parking lot because the selectmen at the time had set aside some money.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's probably rolled into something. I can't imagine that's still.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah. I figured you might be able to.
Anyways, I think it's something we need to look at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yes.
I agree though, we need to do something about it.
At least figure out a plan,
This one out here too,
It's terrible.
it gets used
It's
all
a
the
pond.
time.
Well, I mean, all these people coming here for these events, I mean,
Yeah.
they're walking in puddles.
Yep, no. And then, so, we had appropriated that, we had the $30,000, we figured we'd be able to get them both done, and then when the bids came back, I mean, the contractor that was working on the building came back with a bid, $110,000.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy, and Nate was like, have you seen the bids? He was floored, he didn't expect that, none of us did, we expected to take the lowest one, and we'd go forward, we'd move forward, or at least get drainage done,
I don't know if you know, but you got $124,000 retained earnings, so you know.
Yep,
So it's down from about 225
Right.
last year, something like
it's over in those fields,
Yeah.
75 grand of it's right there.
In the bathroom.
Okay.
And the bathroom, so remember, in the last year, we brought in the 75,000 for the fields and the $50,000 for the bathroom at John Pond. So those were our big ticket items, in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Hey, can I touch on one thing for you?
Sure.
Regarding the meeting the other night with the Tri-Fest?
Sure.
First of all, I agree with you 100% as far as the fees we charge for him. I was here when he originally started coming so many years ago, and we charged him $2 a person, and he was just a guy running a race.
Yeah.
And then I remember we went up to $3, and there was a big fight with him. And then just before probably 6 or 7 years ago, we wanted to go up to $7. And we had a huge negotiation with him because he said he just wouldn't be able to afford to stay here at that price. So we settled on $5. It's been $5 since.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. All you have to do is look at the website and see what's coming in on that thing and realize that they could easily afford twice that. So,
Between the two races, in Freetown and here, he's generating $400,000.
yeah.
And we're charging him, no, I'll split up the two.
Right.
Okay, and we're charging him, $5, he's getting, we got $5,700, this past year, we got 1,000 people here, that's a lot of people, at this facility and on the roads. And I did check with Cathedral Camp, I called Cathedral Camp, and they wouldn't, tell me how much, but they said theirs was better than ours.
Really?
So, I know he's got costs, but at the same time, if he was a nonprofit and was raising money for PMC, I wouldn't even question it. I really wouldn't.
I know.
You know what I mean? I really wouldn't. but he's running a business, and he's using our facilities to run a business. That's where I have a problem with it, so.
So,
Especially when you're charging the kids $20,
Right.
participation fee, you know? You're on it. You should be paying at least 10, in my opinion, but maybe more.
Well, you should see what they're charging the kids to play Little
Oh,
League.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I agree.
Charging them $125 to play T-ball.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy.
Just
I know,
a touch.
my grandchildren play. I know what
Yeah.
they charge over at Mansfield.
yeah, to get back to him though, as far as this year coming up, we've been going through a lot of negotiations, because we had a wedding scheduled that day.
Yeah.
So he's not using the building at all, so that's why it's a little bit different this year. But we've already come to an agreement, you know, set up the contract and everything. I don't think we can do it next year. That's what you were
Yeah.
kind
Okay.
of talking about.
I
I think,
respect
you know,
that.
we need to honor what we've, done for the contract, but next year.
Yeah.
Well, we've already instituted a raise, so I mean,
Right.
at minimum, that's,
The other thing, the last thing is that, the management agreement for this building, have everybody seen it, read it?
You talking about Southeast Management?
Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There's a lot of things in this agreement that they're not doing that they're supposed to be doing. So, this agreement is with the Board of Selectmen in the town of Lakeville.
Correct.
So, we're gonna be looking at this agreement to make sure that they're compliant to the.
right, the selectman's office made that contract. We didn't.
Okay, that's good.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, we helped.
That's okay.
But I mean, it went through the legal process.
I know, I'm not,
What-
that's against God, I'm not blaming anything.
No, I know, but hey, how can we make it better? What are they not doing?
Well, I mean, one of the things they're supposed to have is a marketing plan, they don't have any marketing plan at all,
No.
okay? We're supposed to get, reports from them, about annual reports, and we're supposed to get reports, on a regular basis, we don't get any reports, I haven't seen any reports.
We get a report twice a month.
Well, all we see is how much is being taken in, but we don't see any reports or any backup of anything about, what the fee structure is and how much the weddings are and so forth and so on, so. One of the things, so, the other question is that, in looking at the fees that they're supposed to pay, they're supposed to pay a minimum amount, every year, guaranteed minimum amount. Did you know that?
Guaranteed minimum amount.
To the town?
Their monthly fee?
What fees are you talking about?
Having to do with the 20% of all the monies collected and
Oh, okay.
liquor license, the liquor sales and so forth, and that, failure to meet the revenue is $140,000 during years 2, the amount of 20% of management fee the following term, and so forth and so on. So we need to look at that to make sure that they're meeting those requirements according to the contract.
Okay.
So you guys ought to take a look at the contract when you get a chance.
I have, I just, that, I didn't recollect the minimum amount.
It's $140,000 in sales, right? I don't have it.
But that includes a few different items, correct? I mean,
It
it
just
includes
says to the revenue, so I would assume.
all
it's
rental, bar rental, food service, I mean, there's,
Anyway.
no, I understand, no, that'll be investigated, I didn't remember that part of the contract, I haven't read it
Okay.
recently.
The other thing in this contract is event and function space. The manager shall make available areas designated for event and function space to the following parties upon request. Town elected or appointed boards and committees, including use for elections and town sponsors events, shall be permitted to be used in the event space facility for no fee. So I don't know if you're aware of that in the contract as well.
But there's only so many dates, correct?
There's no dates here spelled out at all. Then open space and recreational use, the manager shall make available designated exterior areas of property for open space and passive and active recreational uses. The town elected appointed boards or committees shall be permitted to use the exterior uses for no fee. I would think the exterior uses come into our commission, and it's me. I don't know why they would have management of the open areas.
I mean, we,
I think maybe it means, the area across the way.
I mean,
Right?
we did.
Oh, with the tent.
We would have, in past years, we had a tent, and they had weddings under the tent.
Okay.
We no longer have the tent has gone bye-bye.
Anyways, this contract's coming up, so we need to sit down and first here discuss this. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
We have to get notification if we are going to renew it or not going to renew it.
Yep, because it comes out November 1st.
Yeah, we were definitely planning on giving it a good look when it came back up for renewal.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking real quick, it looks like fiscal year 2018 actual, we did exceed $140,000. Not by a ton. You got your hall, you got your, and you got your food services, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Just one other question. Who's the custodian service that we use to clean?
It's not a custodian service, it's a cleaning service.
Cleaning service, Clean Right Solutions?
Clean Right Cleaning Solutions.
Clean Right Cleaning Solutions.
We'd love a better idea, if you have any ideas on improving that. They're not cheap.
It looks that way.
And yeah, I mean, I've seen better.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they do okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they come in and vacuum the rugs and, you know, I mean, and do a once over and go through the bathrooms, but I mean, they're not clean. You know, but I would say, you know, wash the floor and, I mean, I can't imagine they would do that after every event anyhow, but, yeah. I mean, but we had a tough time getting them.
Really?
Billy Fuller was in charge of, you know, he went through various people and had them come in and had them work a couple functions and see how it worked out. And he was like, no, you're not gonna do it. You know, you're not doing a good enough job. And he went through a few to finally get one to do it at a let's call it a fair price.
Now, that custodian service, from what I understand, is with the town, it's not with the management company, right?
Correct.
So there's a separate contract on that.
Right. We pay them directly.
We pay them directly.
Right. And now, and that's, and as you heard us say, now we institute that on, we've added that to every function. You have a cleaning fee whether we give you the building for nothing or not. There is a cleaning fee because we have to pay it.
No, town will gladly pay for that fee.
You know, I mean, that's, with our budget constraints as they are, to give away the hall is one thing, but then to have to give away $100 in cash, it just, you
I have a
know,
problem with that.
you know.
I have a problem with that at all.
So that was one thing we
We'll
did.
pay for the town clerk's fee too.
Well, there's no fee other than the cleaning fee.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I mean, and that's just because that's what it is, you know? That was one thing we decided a couple years ago, that when we did institute the cleaning fee, that nothing would go below the cleaning fee. That's, someone's gonna have to at least.
Pay an outside service, absolutely.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, we're open for suggestions, you know? There's definitely things that could be done better. You know, a pooling of people could very well benefit, you know, all the way around. Yeah.
No, we're looking at everything, at least I'm looking at everything, so.
Keeping you busy?
Thank you. Yeah, very busy.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, there's
Has there
things
been,
in the town budget that,
have you ever had like complaints that we're not,
I mean,
have you had a complaint or anything that we're not available for the town to use?
no.
When they want, okay, all right, I thought it, perhaps like, that's part of the.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because we're open to, you know, we've had, you know, Hardy was there for.
No, I haven't. No, I have not had a complaint. I
Okay,
just,
all right, okay.
Because I thought, I may be wrong, but I thought there's some place in there where it stipulates how many dates.
I don't see any
It's
dates.
just the town clerk. for voting.
But the only thing, I'm sorry, the only thing that's in there is the elections.
Right.
That's all, but it doesn't talk about other events the town wants to have.
There's a certain amount, she's gonna have to go over that this year with the
Right,
Congress.
and we understand that, I mean, it's not our fault, I mean, you know, it is what it is, and we'll work around it. And fortunate enough that it's a Monday or a Tuesday, and it's not, you know,
It's always a Monday.
right, it's not a Saturday when we're trying to rent the place for X amount of dollars, you know, so I mean, you know, we're trying to work hard to work with her and work around any problems.
Okay. Anything I can help you with, you know, please let me know. I'm going to every board and trying to communicate with them, so, you know, this may be novel, I don't know, but I don't want things out there festering.
No, it's
You
great.
know, if you're mad about something, you know, please call me, you know, talk to Maureen or whatever. You know, sometimes you may not like my answer, but at least, you know, we can talk about it, you know.
Other than meeting our liaison last year from the board, Leah, for the first time for the 6 years that I've been on the board, this is the second time that someone from the selectmen's office has been. No, I'm just saying.
I've already been to 3 meetings, you know,
No,
this week.
we appreciate you coming to the meeting, believe me, I mean,
We gotta talk about these things.
yeah.
We really do. I'm telling you.
And, you know, I mean, we could be tunnel vision on a certain thing and someone else walk in and see something and it can be done a different way. I mean,
We all have opinions. We ain't all disagree, but let's make a decision and move on to something else,
yeah,
you know? I mean, that's the way it should be.
No,
you know?
absolutely.
I mean, you know, may not agree with something, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. We say, oh geez, we can't do that. But at least we discussed it and made a decision and we moved on. Let's move on to the next thing.
right, right. And I agree with you, those parking lots are a priority. Oh, there's no question. Because when I found out that that lady got hurt, the board didn't find out about it for 6 months.
Really?
Didn't even know about it.
That's not good.
No. But anyhow,
Thanks for your time. I'm sorry to take up so much of your time.
it's all right. It's all right. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time and effort.
No problem.
Okay. Any outstanding items? Nope.
We do have a small list if you want to just,
All right, real quick. We
let's
got
try to go through it real
Yep.
quick. Any updates on the possible shed over here?
we tabled that. I talked to Nate about it.
Right.
I haven't had a conversation with him since.
Okay.
So, I will try to.
Yeah, it's just on my list of.
No,
to-dos for
and
past
keep it
meetings.
there because.
That's fine.
It's one of those things.
I'm sure it's tabled for the season, but the sign at Town Hall. Good night.
Good night, thank you.
You know, the
Right,
pegboard sign.
right. Should we
thing
go
at
and get
Town
that?
Hall. I'm guessing we'd wait till the spring at this point, right? It's just
Not necessarily.
cold.
We have our maintenance guy go get it.
Yeah.
Robbie, whatever.
Bobby?
Yeah.
No. Already tried that. He and Mike were supposed to go over there and get it because.
I didn't see any concrete.
She dug it up.
I
for us
dug, and I didn't see
To see if it
concrete.
had any concrete, and I said, okay. So we sent Bobby and Mike over there one day,
Yeah.
dig it up, and Mike called me back to say, there's concrete there. So-
It must be like
Stick the people
inside.
in.
What
Yeah,
they
'cause-
probably did is, they probably dug a hole, and then just poured some concrete in
Leave
the
it.
hole.
Yeah.
And then
Then
set
put it,
in.
so it's probably, yeah, right in there, so.
I don't know.
So just gonna cut it out?
So we can cut it off with a sawzall,
Yeah.
or we can get a backhoe down there.
I think the last thing that was
That's
said
why it's
was,
on here.
maybe highway could help us just get it out of there and over here.
I did mention it to Franklin, and he said he would, he has no time for it now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So there's that. The TV channel pricing, are we
yeah.
all set with that, or are we good with what we have?
Well, no, we had decided to get the sports channel. If you want to tell,
Lorraine?
yeah, she was the one that was in contact with them. As long as the price is like $7.95 a month is what it's supposed to be. They would take the sports channel.
Do you remember what channel that was? Was it like in Nesson or?
It's more than, it's a
It's
package.
a package, gotcha.
So we don't have that here yet, though.
No,
No, they've got basic. All right, I'll ask her about it. The handicap signs on the spots are all up, right? Are they up?
no.
No, okay.
Are we gonna use the ones that have the concrete on the bottom?
You mean those that have been sitting over there?
Yeah.
No, they purchased brand new ones.
Okay, so
Between.
he had asked,
Franklin.
if you noticed, I had him clean it up over there quite a bit.
Yeah,
So he had asked if we should throw them,
no, I think
No.
we can,
and I said, no, we're probably gonna use those.
I mean, we could put them like the spot that's right there, you know, where the little fence is,
Okay.
if there's no sign there. I mean, Nate did go around and they figured out where they should be, and they ordered them, and I believe they're in, but, Franklin's guys were gonna put them so they were the right height, and it hasn't happened.
Field light replacements. That did not get handled
Boy,
this
that's
year,
going
right?
back a ways.
Yep.
No one.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so we have to that. Did anybody hear anything else about the martial arts building expansion that they asked about
Yeah.
a while back?
Well, somebody gave them an idea of that we were gonna build a new building down here and that they were gonna take over the other half of the building.
Oh,
That's a lot of money.
they're building a new building?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Is it a new office for me?
No, it's a space metal building
Ah, well,
for machinery.
well,
Great idea, but, I mean, you know,
all right, so that's kind of,
Could put the clerk's, shed in it.
put her up on top,
Yeah.
you know, take down
I
the.
think, he spoke to the building inspector about what he wanted to do.
right,
And it's not feasible
Not at this point.
because, for legal reasons, you know, he got, you know, the town building and he's already running a private business in it, who's, you know, it was shut down. That option was shut down.
gotcha, okay, okay. Lakeville Haunted House. So, I did receive on Sunday a response back from we will give you an extended 30 days going into January. They are still hoping to have until spring to get everything out, as it is tough with the holidays and limited help for them. He did say that the group isn't dissolved, they're still in touch, and they are hoping to hand it over this spring.
They're not handing it to anybody. If there's anybody gonna do anything with it, they're gonna come here first.
So,
I've tried to explain that to them. They need to come to this board first and understand what they're getting into and what it's gonna cost them to do it.
right. So he's still asking if the spring is possible.
No.
That's it.
We vote on that?
Yeah, we voted on it.
We said 30 days, January 5th.
So we put the lock on
And then
January
we voted
6th.
to give him an extra month.
Yeah, we gave them until the extra month of January 5th. January 6th, we put a lock on it, not theirs, cut theirs off. And their stuff, we sell it at auction, I don't know, we'll be to get it out of there. They've had long enough, they haven't done anything, in my opinion. Playing this game with them. Sorry. My opinion. Jesse, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
But we haven't figured out the hazard over there as well. People, they get hurt, step on a nail, whatever, who's liable for that? That's us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do we have to put a fence around that thing to, you know, so people don't get hurt? I mean, what if some kids go over there?
They do.
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying, but it might be a matter of time. What do we do? Liability wise?
Temporary fencing might be a good idea.
That's expensive.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe Nate could help us with that, an idea. But, so we're saying, no, we can't
Oh.
wait until the spring, we have to clean. That's just about it.
That was the vote.
It's gonna be locked, it's gonna be cleaned, and if they're coming in the spring with another group, a meeting can be had at that time.
Well, they had it beforehand, if they're gonna bring another group in, it's not
Right.
their call for put another group in, right? It's gonna come here.
Well, they can, they can legally, give them like the name and stuff like that, that has nothing to do with us, but
That
the
that doesn't
spot.
mean that we're gonna let them use the building.
Right,
Yeah.
the spot, the area that they're using is completely us.
Yeah, so they can't do anything.
They have to come here first.
Right, so, let's say they're like, we're not touching it till spring, come spring, you've gotta come talk to us first, you can't do anything. Right?
That's what I told
Yeah,
them.
we don't even need to discuss it, I mean,
No, yeah, just
do
continue.
we?
No.
Okay, just continue with it.
Unless you guys, we wanna, I don't know.
It doesn't sound like anyone wants to change their vote, so it is what it is.
Well, what do you think?
No, I'm with everybody. I'm not against anybody. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like we gave them an extra 30 days and consequences will be what the consequences are.
What's the date? January 5th, Sunday, January 5th?
It was a Sunday, January 5th.
I mean, if they
yeah.
came and just tried to do something, they haven't even come to the building, I mean, nothing.
No.
I haven't seen
I
them.
haven't seen anything from these people.
It was January 5th and we gave them till February 5th, right?
No.
No,
It
we
was-
were
it was
giving them
December.
till
December,
December,
we gave them January.
and then we gave them to January, yeah.
We won't get anything done until February, I mean.
Nope.
Okay, it's what it is. Do we wanna update the rubbish removal for Ted Williams Camp at this point? With the reduced, we hadn't yet because October was so busy.
What?
Reducing the rubbish,
That's been done already, hasn't it?
no? I don't think so, is it?
It
Hold on.
should have been done.
Well,
We just
October,
had a
you know,
bill there
we're-
for 250 somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, It is in there.
It'll say weekly or bi-weekly, or, okay.
Is that the Frady's one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not, it should be. It should be
yeah, I know
reduced.
we mentioned it in October and then we're like, it's way too busy right now.
This is gonna be the last one to look at.
It is gonna be the last one. In the meantime, the car show, should I invite the gentleman to come back to the next meeting so we can further discuss?
Just wanna nail it down now, right? Just,
You come in next week? I mean, he
Do we need him
should come
to-
in at some point.
Yeah, sometime in the next month, sometime in January,
Sometime in January?
if you can,
Yeah.
where our meetings aren't crazy. What's the time period?
statement date was 11:30, so it's, didn't say what the range was.
Say weekly or bi-weekly, or?
The date was 11/12, that was when it was,
Well, anyway, it should
Shortest period,
definitely be cut
11/1
back.
to 11/30, a month of November.
Should definitely be cut back.
It's November,
Okay, I'll double check with that.
yeah.
That's the only one we're paying now, right? We're not paying
Yes.
Ted Williams Camp and
Only Ted Williams
I
can,
mean-
no,
Jump.
One
Clear
pickup
car.
a week.
what is it?
10 yard, one pickup a
So
week.
change it to once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Pass this down, Mike, yes.
Anything else?
No. That was it?
Okay, any other new business? Anybody? Any items from the clerk?
I'll be on vacation next week.
What?
I knew that was gonna get everybody's attention.
Yeah, we
It's,
require 30-day notice.
it's the
Yeah,
holiday
so
week.
here's what they do. Here's what they do, supposedly. Diamond room, bar area, entranceway, and restrooms. Wipe down horizontal surfaces. Vacuum all carpets. Wash the tile floor. So that's just the entrance. Clean entrance glass. Disinfect both bathrooms. That's what they do.
Who cleans like this class and all this? The
Well,
doors.
they have different prices for different rooms.
If
Yeah.
it gets done by our employees. Those are some of the things that Linda does in the wintertime.
Really?
But that's like, that bill is for just one area.
That's for the
It's not
diamond room,
for-
the bar area, and the entrance and the restrooms.
Yeah.
$102. But that's wipe down horizontal surfaces, so that's not getting down cleaning anything. That's not washing the floor in the bathroom. That's vacuuming the carpets, washing the tile floor. The only tile floor we have is in the hall, in the entranceway.
Yeah.
Clean the entrance glass. They clean those glass doors. That's the only glass they clean. And disinfect both bathrooms. Well, disinfect is a lot different from cleaning both bathrooms. Just to let you know. So that's why Linda has to go in and in here, in the kitchen, everybody uses it, but nobody takes charge of it.
What do they use it for? Remember last time we talked, I think maybe.
Heating, serving, like if they make
They'll
salads,
prep
they'll
plates and such.
prep them in here.
Yep.
You know, versus bringing all the salad dishes made up. It's more of a prep area. But so things fall, things get
Sure,
dirty,
yeah.
but it's not owned by anybody. So it doesn't get cleaned. It gets maybe wiped down and a quick brushing, but it doesn't get the floor washed. And that's why I said to Linda, these are things you have to do. We have to continue to do these. Probably once a month, especially when it's busy.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so next week I will be online, but I'm gonna put the autumn office basically for the rest because
We won't bother
the
you.
holidays and such like that. Won't be back till January.
And hopefully we won't be working too much either.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping to as well. So, so I'll be available via
You
email.
skipped
Just let me know if you need
correspondence.
something.
Do you have any
Oh.
correspondence?
oh,
I don't have
I
anything.
did.
Do you have anything?
Do you have any correspondence?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Jason, okay. Okay, on that note, I will also be away next week from the 24th till the 2nd, just to let you know.
Nice.
Yep. They're going down to Florida.
Ah, very good.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Excellent timing.
Yeah,
Yes.
seriously.
So are we meeting on the 30th?
No. Or not.
I think our last meeting, we said January 6th. I already had that written down.
Yeah, we
Alright,
said,
fine.
We did.
we weren't gonna meet in December again.
Okay.
Yeah,
January 6th still, right?
that's good with me.
Department, 6:30?
Okay. Oh, I was gonna take the signs down for the craft fair
Yep.
on our signs. Should I just put up happy holidays
Yeah, that'd
and
be
be done
great.
for the season?
Yeah, there you go.
Great, okay, I'll do that.
We can't put up Merry Christmas, right? We can't put up Christmas.
Sure, we can if you want them.
Well,
Yeah.
If you want
I don't
to.
know.
Any complaints,
I
I'll
would
send to you.
So, all right, so what happened here? So we got a meeting,
The 6th?
Six.
We have-
3 weeks from tonight.
I'm just looking to see, I don't see it on the 30th, nothing there. So it goes to the 6th. At 6:30?
Did we ever get the internet figured out in the other building?
What?
Your internet over there?
No, I have to, touch base with him again and, see where that's at.
How could it be?
You'd be surprised.
I guess.
Okay, so, do we get a motion to, entertain a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn at 9:05?
At 9:05.
Oh, moly.
Who's second?
Second.